And there today are hundreds of studies here in the United States and over 400 globally, where a large chunk of those come from this specific strain of this mushroom. And what they concluded was it wasn't something that cures, prevents, mitigates. What it specifically does is it modulates the immune system. It gets your immune system running optimally again. And if you can get your immune system running optimally, of course, it's capable of resolving any type of circumstance that we could be dealing with. And so, as any of us would probably do if we watch something like this occur with a family member, Simon couldn't stop telling anyone that would listen to him about his mother's story, what was going on, and other people started ordering this through Simon to get it out of Japan. And he was getting the most incredible reports back as to the different things that people were seeing because they were getting that immune system working back to, optimal levels again. And so, people are asking, look, we'd love to share a story. Where can we put it? And Simon said, well, we have no way to do that. And one individual specifically that had a major ulcerative colitis issue, it was so bad, he had it over 8 years. He got on this mushroom, and he noticed just within 3 months such a turn in the way he was feeling and how things were going, is that he wanted to share it, tell everybody, and he ended up starting a website. And that website is called mushroomstudies.co, where people could go that were, taking this strain to report back the different things that they were seeing. Again, it's mushroomstudies.co. It's a great place to learn and read about these studies, but also hear testimonials that people had experienced when taking this. Now, this wasn't just for people that were dealing with issues. This is for people that want to be proactive versus reactive, want to keep from having these type of circumstances occur and get this mushroom into their system. And so for years, as they would get this out and share it with people, it became and created such a following that so many people were wanting to get it from hearing the different things that were happening. And just around a little over 8 years ago is when Gino, which is a partner of Simon in business, and Steve, which are also a partner, both of them lost a dog due to cancer just within a couple of months of one another. And two of Steve's children also had lost a dog due to cancer. Now, this had all happened within a 4-month period, all between the ages of 4 and 8. And they had many other friends, people that they knew that, had, major ailments and issues that their dogs were dealing with. And they were sitting back, having, controlling this mushroom now for over 20 years. As Simon went to his cousin finally after several years of these testimonials and said, look, how do we get this into the United States? And they were able to gain control of it in at that time, all of North and South America. Today, they have total control of this strain. Now, what ends up happening, they're sitting there, they're talking about this, and they, of course, the light bulb goes off, and they're like, I wonder, what this would do for animals, if it's something animals could even take. And so they started looking and digging into it, and they found a lot of things, ladies and gentlemen. But what they first found was this, is they found that there was a study done by the University of Pennsylvania, specifically stating that dogs that were dealing with a very aggressive form of cancer were living 3 times as long as the dogs that were not taking this mushroom. And so they knew that, hey, they had that strain, here they were with it. They had the ability to get it out. And so they knew that they had to get it out and get it into the hands of people, and especially themselves being, animal lovers. And so they created a small treat as they were looking into all the things that were going on and why, there was so much data out there as to why our pets were getting cancers and what was happening. And they put it in this treat form with no bad ingredients, and they started getting it out. They started testing it out. And as they were looking into the things that were going on, they found out something that, at that time, almost 65% of our pets were getting cancer. 1 in 3 are getting allergies. There's 6 million new cases of diabetes going on. And our pets are living half as long as they used to. In the 70s, an age of a golden retriever was 17, and today that age is 9. And they knew, hey, of course, had something great. They needed to do something about it. They were getting the most incredible testimonials back from people with healthy dogs, with unhealthy dogs. It didn't matter. And so they reached out to Kristen and I. This was right at 8 years ago. They said, look, we have something. They explained this story that I shared with you today or this morning. And, we were just blown away by it. And he said, well, listen, let me send some out to you. And I said, well, Gino, we have healthy animals. Our dog is young, our cat is young. He goes, that's fine. He goes, you want to be proactive versus reactive, but you'll probably notice maybe some differences in their energy and their demeanor and maybe their coat. But start giving it to him. And he sent it out. And 3 days later, ladies and gentlemen, one of my very, very close friends posts on social media, I see it, that he has to put his best friend down. Now, I immediately reached out to him and I asked him what was going on. And he said, well, he goes, my dog, which, is the first dog that chose me over my wife. And if you have animals, you know what that means. And he said, she's been dealing with a terrible autoimmune issue for several years. And he goes, just in this past year, it's become so bad that if she steps out on cement or asphalt or even a tile in her home, a lot of times her paw pads will peel off. And we, of course, we have to take her out and we walk her and we avoid those things as best as we can. But he said in the last month, it's become so bad that she's just laying over in our corner of her kitchen. Her hair has been coming out in clumps. He goes, she's almost blind. She's running into things. Her eyes are completely crystallized over. They're white. He goes, she has these tumors or bumps down her side. The vet says they're probably some type of tumor, but he said, and they're probably cancerous, but we did not have them tested for cancer. He said 2 are the size of my fist, and he goes, I'm just not ready. And I said, well, and he goes, Kurt, she's 14. He goes, Huskies normally live to be 12 if you know anything about them. And he goes, I'm just not ready. And I said, well, is she still eating? And he goes, she is. And I said, well, I've learned about something. I trust the person that brought it to me. I said, would you be open and willing to maybe give this to her and just see, what might happen? He goes, of course I would. I'd be happy to do that. Why not? And so we were able to take it over to him. He started giving it to Zenta. And after just 4 days, I received a call. I see him calling my phone. I pick it up. And I said, hey, Kurt. His name is also Kurt. And he goes, what did you give my dog? Now, ladies and gentlemen, he said it in a tone that he had never used with me before. And so I was like, concerned, of course. And I said, is everything all right? And he said, Kurt, he goes, Zenta just jumped on the couch next to me. And I said, that's amazing. And he said, well, you don't understand. She hasn't done this in over a year and a half. He goes, you think it could be this mushroom that you brought over in this treat? And I said, Kurt, I don't know how to, frankly answer that. Honestly, I don't know. You're the first person that had an healed dog that I've personally given it to. Our dogs are healthy. We've only had it a little over a week ourselves. And I said, maybe. And he goes, well, it has to be. I don't know what else it would be. And so as he continued to give this to her every single day, they noticed improvement. And of course, she's going out to the restroom on her own. They noticed after, right around that 30 to 40 day mark that, the hair wasn't coming out in clumps. The paw pads were having no problems anymore. The crystallization in her eyes completely cleared up. And, between 6 and 8 months, they noticed those bumps were gone that she was dealing with. And a long-term testimonial of this product is that Zenta lived to be almost 20 years old. Now, Zenta, her quality of life that next, 4.5, almost 5 years after she started taking this mushroom, they were taking her on 5-mile hikes. She was going swimming out at Lake Mead. They were doing all types of things that they weren't able to do with her 5 years previous to her being almost to the point of being put down. And it was tremendous. Now, she passed away not due to illness. She passed away due to an accident. They don't know how much longer she might have been around if it wasn't for that situation. And that was amazing. Now, we had also, after we received that call about Zenta, my brother started thinking of people. We called my brother, who has a little dog named Batman. He's a little dachshund. At night, they'd have to carry him up to bed when they went to bed. He couldn't get up the stairs anymore, couldn't jump in his favorite chair. And 10 days after they had her on this product, or had him on his product, my brother called me and goes, Batman's running up and down the stairs again. He's 6 years younger. And ladies and gentlemen, we knew at that point we had to get involved. I was in a situation I could not get involved. My wife jumped in right away. She was blown away by just what was happening, the testimonials, and she just wanted to be a way, to help with animals. She wanted to be that voice, and so we started she started getting the information out and providing education, because what the company started realizing is that we just needed to help people understand, why these things were happening. And, why is it that, as they dug into this information, as my wife was progressing along with this, we started learning some things. And we learned that the majority of these issues were coming down due to the foods, treats, and toys that our pets were eating. That's what was causing a lot of it. And you may or may not know this, but most of the dog foods today, some of the treats and toys, are made by 3 manufacturers, 90% of it, and they're candy bar companies. And if that doesn't tell you a few things, I don't know what does. And so they started figuring out that, not only, the foods, treats, and toys, but the different things that our pets were licking, the chemicals that we might be using in our home and they were stepping on, and all these things that were going on, they knew that, not only did they need to get this product out, this mushroom, to get it into their systems, to get their immune systems working effectively again, they also wanted to make sure that, there were no bad ingredients. And so understand, they use human grade whole foods made in human grade commercial kitchens. You can actually, eat these products. And my wife has, by the way, all of them. They're organic, they're non-GMO ingredients. There's going to be no wheat, no corn, no soy. That's made in the USA and sourced here. Understand that a lot of the ingredients that are put in the pet foods today are sourced from other countries, are brought in, and they're full of metals and toxins, and sometimes they find a euthanization drug in them, plastics, things like that. And so make sure whatever you're feeding your pets are sourced and made in the USA. There's no animal byproducts. That's one of the key ingredients, because you don't know what that byproduct means. It could be animals that are unhealthy for human consumption. There's all types of things that are part of that category. And, no carcinogens, no sugars or chemicals. Again, why are these companies putting sugars in our foods? Because they want to make it addictive for our animals. The same thing. It gives no benefit to them whatsoever. So there's no fillers, there's no allergens. And so we started understanding, or the company started understanding, how important this was, because people were getting educated at a high level due to social media as to why these conditions were happening. And there's such a trend that's happening, as people are so focused on finding healthy pet food products. Now, these products weren't just for dogs, cats, horses. Lidiy gives it to her chickens. We have other people giving it to their chickens that are seeing amazing results. Cows, all types of things were happening from this. And so, ladies and gentlemen, the company, as they were getting this out, one thing that we found out is that our animals don't know what a placebo effect is. People started giving these to their animals, and they were seeing results similar, but faster than what humans were seeing. They were seeing incredible things occur. And so they started calling us, they started calling the company, and they were saying, look, we see what this product's doing. How do we get it for ourselves? Is this something that humans can take? They had no idea. And it was funny, because we were able to say, well, look, it was actually tested on humans before it was given to animals through our company. And yes, we've had control of this strain for years. And finally, the company said, look, we can't keep this a pet-centric company anymore. Too many people want it, and they added a division for humans. And so, as Lidiy had mentioned in the start of this, it is, we offer a human product here. And, you heard some incredible, testimonial with what had occurred with Simon's mother. For me, as I started taking this, ladies and gentlemen, I was at a point in my life, I'm an athlete. I'm very active. I was doing, all kinds of different things. And I hit a wall. I hit a point where I just didn't feel like doing anything. My son was 16 at the time. He wants to be out throwing the football and the baseball, and, we're out riding and doing the things that we do. And I didn't feel like doing it. I was concerned something was going on. And of course, I reached out to Gino regarding this. This is right before they brought it into the company for humans. I started taking it, and it was so amazing because within 10 days, I'll tell you the difference. I feel like I still to this day, I feel like I'm 10 to 15 years younger than I am. My eyesight improved. It was amazing. We had gone on a ski trip. About 10 days later, we were playing a game. We all play together every time we go. And the improvement in my eyes, I didn't have my readers on, and I had left them, and we were doing something on our phone, and I was like, I have my glasses on. This is amazing. And it was just incredible, the difference as the rebound that occurred and how much better I felt. And these are the types of things we continually hear from people that are, healthy or dealing with something. Athletes, ladies and gentlemen, it's just amazing what we hear from athletes. We had an individual that had a major issue occurring with him. He had been in the gym his entire life, and he started taking the mushroom. And 3 weeks after he was taking this, he called me on FaceTime from the gym. He's showing him all his buddies he works out with, and he goes, "Kurt, this is amazing." He goes, I'm 52 years old. I have cancer. I'm curling 45-pound dumbbells. I have never done this in my life, and I've just finished my third set. I'm blown away by what the energy, the recovery time I've been able to see, and I have cancer. This is incredible, and these are the incredible results, things that we see that people that are dealing with this product have been, achieving. Now, animals, all types of things, when it comes to animals that are in competition, recovery times, energy levels, sleeping better for both humans and animals, it's been really incredible, ladies and gentlemen. And so, the company, as we come out and we share this information, they're looking for voices. The timing that's going on here with this company could not be more ideal, ladies and gentlemen, and this is why. 77% of American households own a pet. And as I mentioned earlier, people are understanding the importance of getting healthier products in their animals. They're their family members. They love them, and that's critical. This is a consumable product. I mean, 77% of people are buying their pet food online today. Everything's going from, click and order, or from brick and order to click and order. I mean, that's the direction things have gone, and I think you can agree, and especially with our pet food. People are tired of lugging it into their home. Those types of things. This is the direction it is. And, being that I said earlier, it's a consumable product, people are feeding their animals better than they feed themselves. It's crazy. It's crazy the amount of money people spend on their animals. And it's probably one of the last bills they'll ever get rid of. We know that because we witnessed that during COVID. It was crazy as COVID hit, how the company just continued to flourish because people were going to make sure their pets were fed. They didn't cancel their orders. They kept feeding them, and it was amazing. And so, the pet industry, and why do I share these things? Look, if you're like my wife, she always said, I would do this for free. This is incredible. But the byproduct of getting this out has been amazing what it's done, from a financial standpoint. And the reason for it is everything I had mentioned. But, the timing side of what's happening here is absolutely incredible. This industry, the pet industry, ladies and gentlemen, did $147 billion in 2023. Projections, if you look at the projections and what they expect, and these projections come from Forbes and Morgan Stanley and entities that are very reputable, that understand business development and growth, and they're projecting the pet industry by 2032 will reach $420 billion in the U.S. Now, that's 3 times fold. That's a huge growth. And again, why? Well, millennials are having pets instead of children. It's crazy. People, grab during COVID, you couldn't find pets around anywhere. All the pet stores had no pets. You just couldn't get pets from anywhere. People got pets during COVID, and this trend is incredible. You compare that to other industries out there like weight loss, beauty, and skincare. I mean, all 3 of those combined meet about 150 billion that this industry did. And all that, the reason I point that out is it just shows you where people are spending their money, what's important to them. And the pet industry is on fire. Now, globally projected to do well over 500 billion by 2030. But the other component to this is exactly what Liddy talked about. We love what's happening with the pet industry. In fact, the pet side is exploding. But when they added the human component to this, now you look at our pet sales are around 51, almost 52%, and the human side is close to 49%, which created an incredible balance to what was happening in the company because people know now more so than ever the importance of keeping that immune system healthy due to what we all experienced in 2020. And we rode through that time just without any issues occurring for us because of this great product. We feel that's why that occurred for us. And but people know what they have to do. And here in the U.S., the immunotherapy industry did close to $3 billion, and projections show globally it'll be a $1.3 trillion business just by the end of 2032. So it's really just incredible, where people are at, the timing of what's happening here, what's going on with this company. And so, this company is very focused on helping people come in, get this information out through, people like you and I, through people like Liddy and us and many other great leaders that have emerged through this company that are helping us get this out, the way that it needs to be. Word of mouth. And this is the reason why, if you wonder, why are they doing it this way? Well, think about it. I mean, how many times have you walked into a big box grocery store or you've walked into, a big box pet store and there's aisles and aisles of choices? It's overwhelming, especially if you're busy. And I would walk in and there's no way I was going to read the ingredients. I didn't understand what they meant to begin with. So I would choose the best marketing, the package that had the vegetables raining down from it, and assume that I was doing right by our pets by purchasing that. And I came to find out that specific brand that I was purchasing actually had very harmful things in the ingredients that were doing an adverse effect on our animals. Now, most people experience a situation like that. Again, it comes down to the reasons why those statistics I shared earlier are happening. And so they knew that this had to be shared. It had to be brought to people via word of mouth so that people could understand, what we had in this mushroom, what was going on there, but also, why we were doing such great things with the ingredients in these products. And that component has been absolutely amazing as to, just exactly what it's been doing. So when you consider looking at, and what we're talking about here today, when you hear as we go forward some of the great things that people have been able to experience with, just learning about this and what it's doing. I challenge people all the time, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot refute, these studies that have been done. These are third-party studies by major institutions. This is not, Pet Club 247's scientific advisory board that are saying these wonderful things that we pay. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Please don't take it the wrong way. But when you have third-party studies like this, it's incredible. It's incredible to know that you're able to, help people get something into their systems and their pets that can do wonderful things for them in a wonderful way. And that's what we love about what we're doing here with this tremendous company. It's super exciting. And what's even more exciting is I get to turn this over to my wife. And as Liddy had mentioned, we have come in. I started just about a year later after her. And I'll tell you, I started watching, as she was sharing this, she was getting it out, from a financial standpoint, what was happening. I could not believe what I was witnessing because she was just doing something great, something that was dear, what was in her heart that she wanted to share. She, the money component wasn't anything for her. She didn't care about that. But the byproduct of doing what she was doing and helping people and helping these pets was the money that was coming to her because as a result of it. And at that time, it was just the pets, but it was amazing. And so, I started really thinking to myself, wow, this is something I have to be a part of. I would see her, I would come into the bedroom in the morning. She'd be sitting in bed on a phone call in tears because of, the things that this was doing. the stories and testimonials people were sharing with her. And, we were doing very well financially because, of the company that I was involved with and the success that I had there. And I'll tell you, for me, just a quick backlog of my story is that, I worked in the corporate world, and maybe some of you can relate to this. Maybe you're in corporate, and for me, I just didn't like the idea of being told when to go, when I could go home. The amount of money I was able to make, the day I couldn't take off, just watch my daughter play basketball, which happened a lot, and the vacation I could or couldn't take. And some people are dealing with that, in their structures, and some aren't. But my situation was, and I just didn't like it. I didn't want to be in that. And so, I shifted to starting businesses of my own. I have a background in finance, and I started a sporting goods store, which turned into several stores. Again, I mentioned I'm an athlete, and then I also started a mortgage company. And what ended up happening for me, and again, this isn't all business owners, but for me, I was working from 8 to 5. I was owned by my businesses. I didn't own them. My family was going on vacation without me. My children, or my daughter, was growing up under my desk. And I learned very quickly that, that was not the direction I personally wanted to go down. But I didn't know, any other options, any other choices. I didn't know what to do. And, thank goodness that this industry came my way and this company, because it's been absolutely amazing. So, today, if you're looking at this from, maybe that standpoint as well, I'll tell you what, I have found something that has helped our family have the time and freedom we've always wanted, but along with the income that we needed to enjoy those things. And my wife, Kristen, will share some more with you, but she is the real champion behind what we've been able to do here. Again, I'm excited for her to share, some things with you that will also help you understand, just why we're so excited about everything we're doing. And with that, my wonderful wife, Kristen, she happens to be a national vice president with this company.
Thank you so much, Kurt. And I always love hearing you speak. I just listen to you all day. Well, I do. I do listen to you all day. And I absolutely love it. It's such a blessing and an honor. And like Kurt said, you know that you're doing something that you're passionate about when you would do it for free. And I absolutely would with this company, because it's been so rewarding to get to be a blessing for other people and to make a difference while we're out making a living, because we all have to work anyway. So it's so special that we get to do work that's so meaningful to us. And Pet Club 24/7 is incredibly generous. And because of their generosity to us and them showing their appreciation for us and redistributing all those resources and getting them into good people's hands, it allows us to be a blessing for others. We're able to contribute in ways that I never even thought was possible for us. We're able to give to so many causes that are doing so much good in this world. And it's because of the generosity of Pet Club 24/7. And I'm so grateful that they have stayed true to their calling when they started this company. I'm so grateful that they have been good stewards of the gifts that God has given them, and that they've passed something to us that can allow us to impact the world in an epic way. Truly is what we're finding. This is truly revolutionary. It's like a mushroom revolution that we're experiencing. And so I just wanted to share a little bit with you, because I'm certified in pet nutrition. I'm also certified in mycology. As I began to learn why a lot of animals and people were experiencing what they're experiencing, and I also learned how closely related people are to mushrooms. We actually share up nearly 50% of the same DNA as a mushroom, which is mind-blowing. So now you got a little idea of how nerdy I am. I love to learn things. Once I started learning all of that, I thought, wow, there's no wonder why we're experiencing what we're experiencing. That makes sense why the researchers are finding what they're finding, which correlates directly with what we're experiencing. So the fact that Pet Club 24/7 had the idea to get this mushroom therapy into our pets' bodies, into people's bodies in fun and delicious ways that are 100% natural, which is so important, my friends. If you're taking any products or anything, make sure that they're 100% natural, because our bodies and our pets' bodies know how to metabolize natural ingredients. We don't know how to metabolize synthetic or artificial ingredients, and that is what creates a lot of the imbalances in our bodies and the disharmony in our bodies, is because these things are foreign to us. We don't know how to process them. So when we and our pets are consuming natural products, we know what to do with it. Our body knows exactly what to do with it, and that's why it starts functioning more optimally. And like Kurt mentioned, the immune system specifically is your pet's best veterinarian. It's your body's best doctor. It's not guessing. It knows exactly what's wrong in the body. It knows exactly what to do to correct it, but it's just so compromised and so weak that it can't function optimally. It can't work the way that it was intelligently designed to work. So PC247 has taken this very pure and potent strain of the Coriolis versicolor mushroom. They've perfected the extraction process, which is what makes these products so applicable, as you'll hear in a little bit, why so many people are having such positive experiences with this mushroom. Oh, I think someone needs to mute out their phone. It must, that was me. Oh, sorry. It makes these products so much more effective. And so what they've done is they've baked this mushroom into dog biscuits called the Mush Puppies, and also the Mush Puppies Plus, which have a little bit extra Coriolis versicolor mushroom in them for larger dogs. And we bake it into horse cakes called the Mush Ponies. And those are for all equines. We add it into a handmade gravy for dogs and cats called the Special Sauce. We have little pieces of hand-cut beef liver with the Coriolis versicolor mushroom called the Mojos. And we've even taken some complementary mushrooms and added them into treats called the Chill Doggies, which is the lion's mane mushroom, which really does help to chill your dog out. It's a calming blend of ingredients. So especially animals with anxiety or depression or dementia or any type of nerve or brain issues, the Chill Doggies can even help with that, because there's a bunch of research that's been done on the lion's mane mushroom and how helpful it is for nerve and brain support. They even have the pet balms for when your pet has any dry or cracked paw pads or noses, or when they get hot spots on their skin. And this is completely plant-based, this balm, and it has the reishi mushroom, which is great for the skin as well. It has so many great properties for the skin. So they created all these fun ways to get it into our pet system. And as, like Kurt mentioned, as we were watching this happen, when we saw what happened with Zenta, when we saw dog after dog, cat after cat, horse after horse, we realized this is not a fluke. Animals have no idea what a placebo is. They have no clue that there's a mushroom in the gravy that's getting mixed into their food or the cookies that we're giving them. It either works or it doesn't. And it was working over 90% of the time. People were seeing the difference. And many of these differences and results were measurable and backed by testing that was done. So people said, look, we can tell that this is a very pure and potent strain. We can tell that this particular strain is making a difference. So they asked, where can we as people get this same mushroom for ourselves? Which, like Kurt said, many of us just eating the Mush Puppies, which you can, because they're all human grade. But they decided to create a human section of the website as well. And so they had these Inforce capsules, which you could actually pop open and there's a powder inside. So you can mix it in if you have other pets that maybe have a special diet. You can mix in the powder with their food. You could use it to mix into foods, like for people that have preferences that don't like to maybe take capsules. You can mix it in with their favorite foods, and they can't even tell because it's no different from eating a mushroom on a salad. It's just more food mixed in with their food. They added it into 100% natural gummies for children and chocolate chip cookies that are delicious. And it's very smart that they put those chocolate chip cookies in a snack pack, because otherwise you will eat the entire bag if it was a large bag of them, because they're so delicious. They have mineral-rich sea salt in them, so they're very good for you. They even added it to another superfood in coffee. And because most of the coffee that we get from the stores has mold in it and mycotoxins and so many chemicals. As a matter of fact, there was a study done that the beverage that contains the most chemicals that Americans consume today is coffee. So they have an organic coffee that's 100% natural, no chemicals, no preservatives, no mycotoxins, no molds in it. And they add the Coriolis versicolor mushroom to that, so you don't get the acidic feeling in your stomach or those crazy jitters. And it's been unbelievable what people have been experiencing. I myself was dealing with something. I had something going on with my body that was progressively getting worse over several years. I had developed a gluten intolerance, and I was very weak, and I would shake all of the time and be so tired to the point where it was almost like I was depressed, which you can tell by the tone of my voice is not my natural state. I'm not the type of person that usually gets depressed. I'm pretty upbeat and optimistic. And I was getting so depressed, and it was really discouraging. And I actually started to have small seizures, and I would pass out. And at that point, we thought, we need to go to the doctor. I had lost so much weight. I had lost my appetite. I'm 5'9". I was down to 104 pounds. So I looked emaciated. And so we went to the doctor, and they did some blood work. And sure enough, my results came back. I was deficient in several different vitamins, like vitamin D and a couple little areas like that. But what was alarming was that my autoimmune marker was checked, meaning that there was some type of autoimmune, like an immune deficiency in my body. And my antithyroid globulin levels, which tell you what your inflammation levels are, they're supposed to be less than 1, and mine were 522. So 500% more inflammation in my body than a person that is healthy. So they said, this is really high. We need to start doing some testing. We need to figure out which autoimmune condition you have so that we can start managing the symptoms. So that was what they told me, because they had said there's no answer for these autoimmune conditions, but at least we can manage the flare-ups. We can make it more livable for you. And so we started on the testing of the gastroenterology portion. At that point, I had seen the studies on the immune modulating properties of the Coriolis versicolor mushroom, that it is not a stimulant, it is not a booster, it's an actual modulator. So there are several studies that you can find online. Many of them have been published in the National Library of Medicine, showing the immunomodulation effects of the Coriolis versicolor mushroom. Now, I had also seen what the mushroom had done for Zenta, how this food fed Zenta's body, fed her immune system, and her own immune system rebalanced and found its way back. So I thought, you know what, while I'm going through all this, at the very least, I want to try and feel as good as I can. If this is not something that can be resolved, at least maybe I can feel a little better every day, get my life back. So I started taking 6 of the Inforce capsules every day, 3 in the morning, right when I woke up, 3 at night, right before I went to bed, which is about 3 times the recommended amount, because they recommend 1 capsule for every 50 pounds every day. So I was taking 3 times that, because the condition that I was in was not good. And so little by little, after about a week, I started feeling happier. My mood was a little bit elevated. After a couple weeks, I was getting hungry again. My appetite was coming back. I wasn't feeling as depressed. I had more energy. I wasn't taking naps anymore. I used to take a nap every single day. After a couple months, about 5.5 months, after I had gone through the the gastroenterology portion, they found nothing wrong. I was starting the endocrinology section. I skipped into the endocrinologist's office. Hi, how are you? He was like, you do not seem like you have an autoimmune problem. I was like, I feel great at this point. He's like, well, let's do some blood work and let's see where you are. They did my blood work again. My vitamin level had rebalanced. I was no longer deficient in vitamin D. I was no longer deficient in vitamin B. My autoimmune marker was gone, and my antithyroid globulin levels were back below 1. After 5.5 months of feeding my body a mushroom that fed my immune system, my own immune system was able to repair, rebalance, recover, regulate, replenish, renew everything that was happening inside of my body. And so he said, look, there's no reason for us to continue the testing. You know, it seems like you are on the right track. And so I told him I was taking a mushroom. He said, well, keep taking those mushrooms because it seems to be doing really good things for you. And from that day forth, I'm an athlete. I used to take several ibuprofens a week because I would get sore, stiff muscles. I used to take an allergy pill every day. And now for over 6 years, I haven't taken any medication whatsoever. Not one single ibuprofen, not one single allergy pill. Whenever I feel allergies coming on, I just take a couple extra mushrooms. I eat the right food. My own body handles it. Whenever I feel any soreness or stiffness, it comes on. Whenever I start feeling any soreness or stiffness in my body, I just take a couple extra mushrooms, and my own immune system handles it. So it has been incredibly powerful what eating the right foods has done for me. And now from this point, like Kurt mentioned, I feel like I'm 23 years old. I'm 43, and I just feel 20 years younger. I feel so good, and I'm so grateful for this mushroom. Now, a lot of people are dealing with very specific concerns. So Pet Club 24/7 decided to add some complementary mushrooms that you can take along with the Coriolis versicolor mushroom, which is the core mushroom, because people have been asking for a more targeted approach. You know, they have very specific outcomes that they're looking for. And when you take the Coriolis versicolor mushroom, it's not going to do any one specific thing in the body. It's going to feed the immune system, and then the immune system intelligently prioritizes what needs to be handled in the body first. And it works methodically, and it goes to the most catastrophic areas first. It addresses what needs to be done there. It goes to the source of whatever the body is experiencing. It addresses it, and then it moves through and goes to other parts of the body that need help. So what they've done is they've created some complementary mushroom line that complements what the Coriolis versicolor mushroom does. So they have the Inforce Plus, which is the yellow bottle that you'll find online, which is the Coriolis versicolor mushroom, along with a little bit of reishi mushroom as well. The reishi mushroom helps to alkalinize the body. There are a lot of studies on it that have shown that it can help to regulate blood pressure levels, blood sugar levels, also cholesterol levels. So the reishi mushroom is really great to take. I personally take 2 of the Inforce capsules and 2 of the Inforce Plus tablets every single day. I take 1 of each in the morning right when I wake up and 1 of each in the evening right before I go to bed. It also helps with blood viscosity. So if you live in a really big city and there's a lot of electromagnetic waves and radiation and stuff around you, which can thicken the blood, the reishi mushroom helps to maintain the proper blood viscosity. So that is very good for your circulation. Now we also have the Inforce Restore, which is the maitake mushroom. This is the red bottle that you'll find online. And this is very helpful for liver and pancreas support. We also have the lion's mane mushroom in the Inforce Clarity, which is the blue bottle. And this is very helpful for nerve and brain support. There are so many studies that have been done on Parkinson's, neuropathy, Huntington's, Alzheimer's, dementia, and how the lion's mane mushroom can help to remap the brain, even epilepsy. You can go find all of these studies online. They're everywhere. So it's really exciting what we're finding with the lion's mane. There are also several studies that have come out on how helpful it is for weight management. We have so many people that are just dropping pounds left and right, and they're doing it the right way because their body is rebalancing, their brain is being remapped, so they're processing food differently. It's unbelievable. orange bottle. And this is great for cardiovascular support, has a lot of antioxidants. It's a great source of natural vitamin D, and it promotes antiviral functions in the body. So I also have included two of the Infor Shield tablets every day as well that I take, because I just love the way that it makes me feel. So I mentioned earlier that, being an athlete and dealing with pain for my whole life, how much better I've been feeling. But I will also say, as an athlete, when you are taking the Coriolis versicolor mushroom and your immune system is functioning optimally, you train so much harder. You're able to do a lot more while you're training, which then improves your performance. So you're performing better. You have more focus. You have more clarity. You have more endurance. You have more stamina as your immune system is supporting your body as it is performing at those high levels. And then afterward, you recover faster. The immune system builds muscle. It repairs. It recovers. It builds bone and bone density. It strengthens the body. So this is one of the best supplements that you can possibly take, especially if you're a high-level athlete or competing at a high level, or if you have a pet. We have a lot of horses that are in competitions that are competitive horses, and it is improving their performance so dramatically. It's unbelievable. So even if you don't have any health concerns and you are in great shape, but you want to maintain that and be proactive and not be reactive, I recommend getting this mushroom into your system every day. We have a saying with Pet Club 24/7. Every pet, every person, every day should be taking the Coriolis versicolor mushroom. And if you're going to take it, you might as well take the most pure and potent strain that's available in our experience. You might as well take the one that is perfectly extracted, which increases its efficacy so that you're getting the best food that you possibly can into your body. So thank you so much for allowing me to share, what we're doing with Pet Club 24/7, what my own experience with it, and how God works in my own body, and how these mushrooms are continuing to impact the quality of life for so many animals and people. And we're truly changing the world one pet and one person at a time by being a voice for those that don't have one. So I'm going to turn it back over to Kurt. We appreciate all of you giving us your time and your attention. And thank you so much, Liddy, for putting this call together. We appreciate you.
Wow. How would you guys like to be me and always have to follow her? She is just so deep involved with what we're doing here. It's such a pleasure to sit back and just watch her do what she does with this incredible company and the things that she's getting out to people. And so I was thinking as she was sharing all that, because we always hear just some of the most amazing things. And I got a call from a gentleman that's been a customer here in the company for now going on over 2 years, and he's seen such a dramatic change in his animals and in his own personal health by utilizing the product. He's just a voice. He just tells everybody he can about it. But one person that would never change or listen to him, everything he said was his daughter. And his daughter had her dog in, which is a golden retriever, to get blood work done a little over a year ago. And the blood work didn't come back too great. There was a lot of deficiencies, some things going on. Nothing catastrophic, but some things happening. And so he kept trying to get her to get, that golden retriever on the products. She just, didn't want to make a change. Sometimes people don't. And so at Christmas, he, for a Christmas present, he loaded her up with all the Pet Club products. The mush puppies, our super, our special sauce, and the dog food. And he called me, this has been about 2 weeks ago now. He called me and he goes, Kurt, he goes, I have something to share with you. And he shared the story about his daughter and all of this. And he said she took her back and took her dog to the vet again for blood work. And the vet comes in and afterwards, and he goes to her, he goes, I'll have to tell you something. In the 26 years I've been a veterinarian, I have never witnessed blood work as good as I'm witnessing with your dog. I look back from last year and I can't believe the differences. What what have you done? And she explained to him all she had done was just change, to our products. And these are the incredible things that we continually get to hear as a result of what this is doing in so many different ways, not just for animals, for humans as well, as we get to see, every time we go get anything done, our blood work that we always do once a year, we are seeing the most tremendous blood work that we've ever seen. No deficiencies, everything incredible. And a couple of different things that we'll go to, and many people don't know this, but there are ways out there that your immune system can be gauged to see where your immune system is. It's a marker. And it is interesting, and Liddy and others might touch on this a little bit, is why is it that with all the technology we have in modern medicine, why is it that we can't get a marker that tells us how our immune system is functioning, what's going on? So, there's ways that this can happen, and we know a doctor that provides a way to do that. And it was so interesting because when Kristen and I first met with him, this has been over 3 years ago, and he looked at our markers. He actually was looking at Kristen first, and he got to that point to check that marker, and he stopped and he recalibrated the machine. Now, I was in there with her, and I was like, wow, something wrong, I was thinking to myself, and he comes back and he goes, to tell you something, I have a way to look at how your immune system is functioning. And I have a number that we go by, and he goes, normally I'll see healthy people with a healthy immune system. They'll be, between this, what we call a 60 and 70 range. And he goes, if somebody has an immune system that might be, not functioning, at the best way or optimally, he goes, we'll see between 50 and 60, and maybe, that's that person that, picks up the flu once per year and things like that. And he goes, generally, if it's below that, and that's usually people that have some concerns to worry about in different illnesses and diseases. And he goes, yours, Kristen, is at 83. He goes, in all the years I've been doing this, he goes, I've never seen an immune system, marker come back at that level. And he was just blown away. He couldn't believe it. So then I got to the point to do mine as well. And he was doing it, and he goes, Kurt, yours has come back at 79. He goes, I'm shocked. I'm 10 years older than Kristen. He's like, I'm absolutely floored. And he goes, what are you guys doing? And we had shared that with him. Obviously, they went on to start providing this mushroom to, their clients and people that are coming in because they're seeing such great results with it. And, just another amazing testimonial to what we're able to experience, by utilizing this product and what it does specifically with our immune system. And so, as you can see through Kristen and her excitement, my excitement about what we're doing here, ladies and gentlemen, it's just a wonderful, wonderful way to really go out and be a difference maker, change maker, way maker here with what we're doing for this wonderful company. And we are so blessed and fortunate that this fell in our, in our path to be able to be a part of this great thing, but even more so just the people that are attracting to the company, the high level of individuals. And we know, where that comes from. It doesn't come from Kristen and I. It comes from, the higher source of the people that just see what we're doing, the discernment that they have. And, today you get to hear from some amazing people with amazing backgrounds, seeing what we have seen in this. And I'm excited for that. And as Liddy had mentioned, and she'll mention again, I would encourage you to, get other folks on here that could, maybe need to hear this or could, they're looking for maybe something to, help them out in getting, that immune system back to optimal health. But Liddy is just another one of those individuals. She is such a blessing when it comes to this company. I love her tenacity. I love just who she is, how her mind works. And, she is just instrumental. She was able to see some of the things, herself. She's just come in and she's making sure that any way possible we can get this information out. above and beyond what we're doing here with this company. And so, Liddy, I don't know if you know, I don't know if we tell you enough how thankful we are for the things that you do, the leaders that are working with us all together. But we love you so much, and we appreciate you so much. And thank you for putting this together. And of course, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back to you. We've taken enough time this morning so far, and we appreciate once again all you're doing.
Oh gosh, I am so full. I'm so full. I just want to say that I just feel like we just got put on the table a lifeline. And I looked at the word hope, and hope stands for help other people escape. And I just really see that this is a hope lifeline to help other people escape. And I know that one of the things that you and Kristen already have talked about is that it's the innate nature already divinely within us that gets to tap into internal intelligence and course correct that which is off course. And here it is, a navigator, that when we don't know how to navigate, here's a navigator. And it's going to be able to help you accelerate and propel the life that's within you already. But there's a roadblock. Imagine removing the roadblock. This morning I woke up and I had a conversation because of a call that came into me early. And this lady says, I've been praying and praying overnight because I have a friend that is in a world of hurt. And they have spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they're not getting ahead. And she said, I've been thinking about this, that something that you said. See, we're planting seeds today. I don't know why you, and I don't know why now, but I do know that if it's to be, it's up to me. Then I get to look in the mirror, and I get to make a decision. See, Kristen made a decision without her husband independently. He could not help her heal her gut issues or digestive and turn that life around. Here's what we're going to say. We're going to help you understand that you're going to be celebrated. We're going to celebrate your success. We don't take responsibility for anything but being the messenger. We don't take credit for success, and we don't take blame for failure, because that's what keeps us going every day, is to give you hope. And understand that the genius, divine design is genius and divine and design. And that's the internal intelligence. That's what we're talking about. If you want to get to the core, you have to get to the core to restore. We're talking about core cleaning. Roadblocks, let's get them out of the way. That's why all these success stories. You're going to hear some stories, and the next person I have the privilege to bring on is the gentleman that I've actually used as counsel over the years, helping some people with some pretty tough stuff. And in December, I called him, and he did not respond to me, which he never not responds to me. He always calls me back within minutes or an hour and says, what can I help you with? Anyway, he didn't respond. No text, no email, no phone call. No, nothing. That was December. I justified the busy time of the year. I said, I'll go back in January because I'm still trying to help this person. And the same, no response. And then this person that I'm trying to help, I thought, well, maybe he'll pass and I don't have to do this. I mean, I had all this dialogue in my head. And then he called back and he says, do you have an answer for me? I said, I'm going to make one more phone call. And that was in February. And Dr. Jerry said to me, I apologize because I did not respond, but I thought my life was over. Now, Dr. Jerry's got a pretty amazing story. And when he was 5, he was challenged with a bone disorder. And 7, he's in a wheelchair. But he went on to become a chiropractor and a physician and understands. He went to India to study Vedic medicine. He's functional medicine. He understands all this stuff. And you're going to get privileged with right now with this voice and this heart to hear from Dr. Jerry Shaw. Dr. Jerry, you have no idea how much people love you, adore you, and appreciate you because you serve heart first. And I have the great privilege to say, take the platform. Dr. Jerry.
Wow, Liddy, thank you so much. Really appreciate you And Kurt said, difficult to follow Kristen. And I have the challenge of following both Kurt and Kristen, so I'll do my best to follow through. But I really, really appreciate you and everything you've done and are doing, and our friendship over the past, let's say, almost 30 years. And we're we've gone through some interesting times, and we've grown up a lot, and we've overcome a lot of challenges, and people in mass in our society in the last few years are peering behind the curtain. And I was blessed enough through having a very rough childhood, as you alluded to. It was a blessing to me because it actually set me on a journey, and I did peer behind the curtain early. And I discovered that health and wellness is something you really have to pursue. It's not being offered in our healthcare system. And it makes me sad to even think about it. However, that's mitigated. The sadness is mitigated by what's happening right now. There is a mass awakening happening now. People are realizing it. People are having their own awakening process, and we're a part of that. And it's amazing when you can be a part of something like that. I didn't know that I would live long enough to actually see this happening. But over the years, as I did work, I worked interdisciplinary, meaning I always attracted holistic MDs, DOs, OMDs, that's Oriental Medical Doctor that practiced Chinese medicine. And one of my best friends was an Ayurvedic medical practitioner on the side. But he was also, we're in the car, a little background noise, I apologize about that. But he was also on staff at University of Southern California School of Medicine. And he was also on the Board of Examiners. And he would try to affect changes, and I'm talking, 35, 40 years ago. And they were absolutely not open to it because, it's a huge money, a huge industry that you go up against. The healthcare industry, a multi-trillion-dollar industry. In fact, $4.9 trillion in the United States alone last year, what was spent on healthcare. And what did it result in? It resulted in the United States ranking 48th in life expectancy. It results in the United States ranking near the bottom in infant mortality, believe it or not. It resulted in epidemics, literally, of cancers, of autoimmune diseases, of metabolic disorders, of just look at diabetes, cardiovascular disease. Look at the weight people carry, and look at and reflect back to the pictures of people on the beach in the 60s or 70s, and look at those same beaches today. Something is wrong with our health care system. It's not healthy. And how did that happen? I'm not one to pull any punches. Literally, at the beginning of the last century, John D. Rockefeller, who owned Standard Oil, and he owned a lot of media interests, and together with a lot of his billionaire cronies, including Andrew Carnegie and J.P. Morgan, etc., they decided to take over healthcare. And so what they did was they started investing in the modern medicine model we see today, which was chemical-based, because they were very into chemicals and chemistry, being Standard Oil owners, one of the largest corporations in the world at the time. And they were the richest people in the world at the time, and they wanted to control everything. And they saw that healthcare would be a great thing to get into, but all of the natural medicines that had proven themselves for thousands of years. Now, that's science. Science is simply the application of certain mechanisms that you observe. And these things that go back into Ayurvedic medicine and traditional Chinese medicine, they've worked for thousands of years. Homeopathy started in Germany back in the 1800s, and it worked amazingly well, so much that homeopathy was the main medicine of the world up until more recent times when modern medicine started buying it out and taking over. But one of the things they did through their power, they began to influence Congress, they began to influence laws, and they began to pass laws that made anything natural, they called it quackery, and they made it illegal. So a lot of doctors doing really good things ended up going to jail. And that was just the start of this twisted system that now over 100 years later we see the results. And we see an actual epidemic of disease development happening. Because of why? Because we neglected the innate intelligence, and you've heard that mentioned. Our body has an innate intelligence that's literally tapped into the universe. It's divinely created, divinely inspired, divinely manifesting, but we've done everything we possibly can to interrupt that, to fly in the face of it, to contradict it. Kristen said things natural, the body knows what to do with, but things that are not natural, the body doesn't know what to do. All of the drugs are unnatural. 100% of them. 100% of them have side effects and contraindications. If you look at the physician's desk reference, which every physician has, and they should by all rights, even legally, really go through that and understand what they're doing, because every action that it lists has paragraphs of reactions. And anytime you're dealing with something unnatural, which has to be, because in medicine they have to patent things in order to make money on them, so they can't be of nature, they're not natural, and sometimes those certain actions are necessary in certain circumstances. But to rely on it totally has been a wrong pathway, because what happens is you introduce a vector, you introduce an action in the body that the body, which is amazing at adapting and compensate, usually can adapt and compensate to it, but it drives that energy in one direction because it's a chemical and it has an action. But that action is very potent. So the body uses that vector and maybe gets some positive results, but now you're forcing something a certain direction, and that's not smart. And let me tell you what I mean by that. Our body is divinely, innately intelligent. It's ultimately intelligent because it's tapped into nature and it's tapped into the universe. And nature always balances and the universe always makes it right. So what it does is the body strives to make it right. It works with that vector. But now it's going one direction and the body has to work harder to create the balance. All traditional medicine was about balance. All traditional medicine was about giving the body what it needs, just enough, things that it recognizes, so it can more easily create that balance. But when you introduce something that has an action, now the body has to work to offset that a little bit, and it's very capable of doing that. However, in modern medicine, typically you're driving something one direction, you end up needing something to drive it in another direction because, we found this other finding, we're getting things thrown off. Maybe it's because liver function is dropping because it's having to deal with that other foreign substance. Now we have to introduce something else. Well, that could be a completely opposite direction. So the more you do that, the more difficult it is for the body to generate its own internal balance and to stay plugged in to that innate intelligence which we were created to have. And we have a DNA that tracks back our history into millennia, that actually is attempting to imprint and signal everything that's right and everything that's balanced so we can maintain well-being, strong, long lives, healthy lives, active lives. And what we've done is we've done everything possible through the mind of man to interrupt and interfere with that. Because we're actually driving in a rainstorm. Sorry about this. My wife is here freaking out a little bit. So sorry about it. Anyway, I'll try to wrap up here in just a minute. But just think about this for a minute. Remember back in the 70s, they were like saying, well, there's a big problem with cardiovascular disease beginning, and it seems to do with these cholesterol levels. And so they started thinking, well, cholesterol's fat. We need to remove fat from our diet, right? That's the mind of man thinking. So with the mind of man, we're thinking, oh, that's a brilliant thing. Let's remove the fat. Something that people have eaten fats for as long as people have been people. But let's remove it. Oh, that's brilliant. So what happened? People started having liver issues. People started having gallbladder issues. People started having even worse cholesterol levels because the mind of man went to work and said, well, we'll create fake fat. We'll create margarine. We'll create vegetable shortening. That's not really fat. That's actually plastic. That's got to be better, right? We can make a lot of money selling that because it's better. We can call it heart healthy. And you know what happened? The cholesterol levels went higher because the liver is what mitigates and balances the cholesterol. It makes the cholesterol. Your body needs cholesterol. Your brain is made out of cholesterol. The cell membrane is made out of cholesterol. You actually need low-density lipoproteins. There are uses for it. But the liver gets it into balance, gets your low density and high density in the correct balance, your lipids in balance. So you start challenging the liver with plastic, unnatural things, and it starts spinning out of control. It can't do what it was created to do. Obviously, then the numbers get thrown off. So they thought, well, people aren't eating the fat-free food so much because they don't taste so good. Well, let's put sugar in there. So they put more sugar in there. That's the next thing that damages the liver, is sugar. And then they had the brilliant idea to create fake sugar. So they created an unnatural sugar. And even back in I think it was the 70s, there were several universities that studied diet sodas. And they fed rats the same diets, and some they gave diet sodas and some regular sodas. The ones on the diet sodas became obese because it actually stimulated their appetite and they ate more. But you didn't hear that study going to the mainstream. That's the brilliance of man, trying to figure things out instead of just leaving it the way it is and staying with something natural and eating the good food that our ancestors ate, organic food and these kinds of things. Then introduced the 90s. They thought, we'll genetically modify our food. That'll make it better, right? Because we're so smart, we can do that. We can genetically modify seeds. We can make it better. But you know what? It made it so that they could use more powerful herbicides and insecticides. So what did that result in? That started resulting in massive amounts of leaky gut. Leaky gut, the gut is a membrane that's semi-permeable as was intended. But what happens if it's leaky? That means you're leaking things into the blood that a normal healthy gut will keep out the things that need to be kept out. So now you've got all these things leaking into the blood. What happens then? The first place the blood goes to is the liver. So the liver that's already overburdened and struggling has to even work harder and has even more difficulty maintaining the balance of everything to do with the blood with 600 known functions medically. And so things spin out of control again. And the other thing that happens is these large molecules, because the liver produces the precursors of macrophages, those things, lymphocytes and leukocytes. And so the liver is involved in many things, including immunity. So these things go more massively into the blood because they're attacking these large molecules that enter into the bloodstream. Now you have an even larger molecule called an antigen-antibody complex. These macrophages gobble up whatever it is that you've eaten that's in your bloodstream that shouldn't be in your bloodstream. Now there's this very large molecule. Where does that end up? It ends up in the liver. And the liver, already compromised, already struggling to do everything it needs to do, can't even produce enough of the precursors for your immune system. Your immune system struggles. Now what happens? Now the third line of defense, the first was the membrane that man has succeeded in destroying. The second are the macrophages that by man's brilliance have been depleted. The third now are T cells. There's two generations, TH1, TH2. TH1 reacts. TH1 goes out, targets these foreign invaders, sprays them with hydrogen peroxide, and tries to neutralize them and help to destroy them, to break them up and make them water soluble so that the liver can process them and get rid of them. But what happens when it's happening all the time, every day, day in and day out? Your TH1 wears thin, just like we would wear thin if we were working 24/7. So what happens? It calls up TH2. Those are the reserves. The reserves come out. Well, imagine this. TH1 has the ability to build a template. Let's say you're eating lots of bread and wheat and things like that, and it's ending up in your blood, not digested, broken down properly. What happens? Well, eventually, because the T cells end up being called in, they create a template for that particular protein structure, and now it's recognized in your body. That's your innate defense system actually working the way it's supposed to, but now it's working kind of against you because now it's targeting your own food and it's memorizing it. That means you're going to be allergic to wheat anytime you eat it because it's going to activate all of these histamines. It's going to activate this immune response, and it's not a good thing when it involves the food you're eating. Well, TH2 comes along, and it's not as discerning. It builds off of that same template that TH1 created. Now what happens is it's a little confused because it's not as good at recognizing that. And if it's somewhat similar, because protein structures can mimic one another, and what's similar? If it's similar to the connective tissue in joints, it starts reacting to those. You might end up with a rheumatoid arthritis diagnosis. If it's reacting to connective tissues, you could end up with a scleroderma or a lupus diagnosis. If it's reacting to some spinal cord or some nerve kinds of tissue, you could end up with ALS or Parkinson's, etc. If it's reacting to thyroid, Hashimoto. You can get what direction I'm headed in. The body becomes confused, overworked, it becomes confused, and then it doesn't work like it should. And then what happens is disease spins out of control. All of those things, the cancers, the autoimmune disorders, the cardiovascular disease, the inflammatory diseases, diabetes, arthritis, all of those kinds of things that are spinning out of control right now, currently in our civilization, driving our life expectancy down and driving it backwards. For the first time that we've been recording life expectancy, it's headed backwards. So animals living half as long right now are the canary in the coal mine. Animals are living half as long right now as they did as recently as the 1970s, and we are headed to that same area because already our life expectancy is plummeting, and we're headed to that same arena. They just have faster metabolisms. They're reacting to it sooner. We should pay heed. We have a responsibility. We have an immune-modulating, natural whole food supplement, something the body recognizes and works with and has been proven to work with. We have it. It's like we have an obligation to share with those we care about, with those we love, with those that want a future generation of children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren that can actually have the hope of being well and not dying at half the age of our current life expectancy. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Oh my gosh, Dr. Jerry, my phone is just bling, 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 blinging, and because of the fact that people are starting to get this picture, and that we're talking about this most potent strain of a Coriolis versicolor, extracted at a very particular time of the mycelium stage, where it's at its highest potential of its PSP and PSK, which is the powerful part of the equation. And then there's a proprietary extraction process that increases that potency because it maintains the integrity. And so as you were speaking, I'm thinking about integrity. Like if you could really speak the power that lies within you, like you were speaking, and we know that we're really talking about rebalance, restore, regenerate, reboot, recover, repair. We're not talking about cure, treating, and diagnosing, diagnostic, prognostic. We're talking about that, what you're talking about. So I thought about this again, like this is the lifeline rope, hope rope, helping other people escape with hope. That rope is that, and so if you hang on, and we're not over, this is not over yet in terms of like, the rest of the story. We've got another person I'm going to bring to the table here in just a second. So you might invite a few people that have to like look under the microscope. They have to like make sure they read all the studies, and I'll pray about it. I'll think about it. I'll study this. And here's what oftentimes comes through. And I think, Dr. Jerry, you might have a word about this. And I do know that Kurt's going to be on with us. And some people are asking about, well, what about athletes? What about recovery time? What about, accelerating being, at the top of your game? So, Kurt, if you have a moment to come back on and share that thought. And because it's about the immune system. When it's effective, you're effective. Is that a direct connect, Dr. Jerry? And maybe something.
Did you ask me to come on, Liddy?
Yeah. If you would just speak to the fact that if the immune system's effective and healthy.
Yeah, I do want to speak to that. Our product does not cure, does not treat, does not mitigate disease. No product does. No doctor does that. What does that is the human body or the animal's body, because it was created to do that. And it has throughout all time done that. And it's been superb at doing that, because innately the animal, the person, our ancestors, we've known what to do. We've known what we need to do because we're in touch with nature. That's the reason. And what's happened is we've deviated from nature. See, life is the miracle. And it truly is a miracle if you think about it. The fact that we are alive and, you cut yourself and the cut heals. You don't have to think about it. You eat food and it digests and feeds your body, and you don't have to think about it. And, you fall asleep and recover, and you don't have to think about that. It's just there. You're plugged into nature. It's common sense. And what we do is we support that. And when you find something that is naturally tested to support that, it's time to wake up. It's time to say, I need that in my body, because there's so many things working against that. Toxins in the air, food and water, energy, EMFs in the homes, communication towers emitting 5G, and all of those things working against you. We need to really think of things to work for us and helping to create that balance, supporting that balance. We're not looking for a cure. We already have the cure. The cure is our body and its ability to cure, its ability to mitigate. But we actually have destroyed that. We've hammered it. So we actually need to reach out and support it now and be a friend to our body, a friend to the miracle, and create miracles and change lives and save lives around the world. So that's my comment.
Oh, best doctor, your innate immune system. Oh my gosh. So I was thinking about innate, inside of you. In force is the name of the product. And what we're looking at is that the force be with you. And that's the in force is in you already. Oh my gosh, what a direct connect, and what a beautiful conversation that we're having. And so with that, I know a lot of people are ready to hear the next part of this, where you're going to hear it from a dear friend, somebody that I met along the way that, has this calmness, but works with doctors and understands it from a very integrated dialogue and looks at things under the microscope, a microbiologist. And Monique Myrie, so she's going to give you some of her insights. She's going to tell you why,
this is kind of like bridging the gap of all the things that seem like it's like still a mystery out in this so-called dialogue. So Monique Myrick, thank you for being the love that you are. And I know you have a personal story that you're about to unveil to everybody. So grab a piece of paper and a pen, everybody, because she's going to tell you what and why this actually got her attention. Monique, love you.
Liddy, thank you so much. I'm so full, I can hardly hand it. And God gets all the glory. God gets all the glory for making our immune system to protect us, to work like it should when it's fed, for making this Coriolis versicolor substance. I believe he has made for us in his kingdom the things that will help us live and thrive. And we have been in a bombardment, like Dr. Jerry said, just toxic overload. The air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we eat, the clothes we wear, is everywhere. That this immune system is fighting off all the things and trying to help us heal, trying to help our 100 trillion cells work like they were intended to work for us to live a full life. And it's interesting that you started to call off with parasites, because parasites, the subject of parasites, changed the trajectory of my life, my professional life, my life in general. And just a little history. I started out to be a pediatrician, changed to microbiology. I was in immunology research. And then I decided that being a pharmaceutical rep would be a good career move. And so I learned to train doctors in drugs. And I have repented from that. And, if we look at the drug commercials today, try Dum Dum. It may create, it may cause leukemia, strokes, death. You may lose a right foot. But check with your doctor to see if it's right for you. And when I was talking to doctors, we concentrated on the few benefits. And like Dr. Jerry mentioned, the PDR had pages more side effects, but we really didn't concentrate on that. And drugs, those commonly started as plants, and then the pharmaceutical industry tweaked those because you can't patent a natural substance. And then it is far into the body. All of this is far into the body. A person doesn't have cancer because they're missing chemo and radiation. A person doesn't have high blood pressure because they're missing lisinopril, or high cholesterol because they're missing Lipitor. These are all Band-Aids for the source, and I've been on the journey. My passion is early detection and prevention. We need to take those Band-Aids off the core of the SORE, S-O-R-E, of our bodies. It needs to be healed. That core is our immune system. And what we have our hands on is something that causes our immune system to go into homeostasis, to balance. So I got through being a pharmaceutical rep, and I was still on the traditional allopathic road. And some friends asked me to listen to some information on parasites. And I told them, I said, I don't really need to listen to this because I've studied them. I've looked at them under the microscope. It's a third world problem. They said, well, you might want to listen to this information, and out of respect for them, I listened to this cassette at the time. And when I finished listening, it was like, it's not do we have parasites, it's how many do we have, and where are they? The average person today has 13 different parasites. Dr. Ross Anderson writes, this is called Wellness Secrets for Life. I believe the single most undiagnosed health challenge in the history of the human race is parasites. I realize that this is a pretty brave statement, but it's based on my 20 years of experience with more than 20,000 patients. And so parasites, why would our body allow parasites to live in us? Parasites mean it's feeding off of our cells, it's connecting to us, eating our nutrients, pooping, defecating, getting rid of their waste that becomes toxins to us. The reason that we can harbor these parasites is because our immune system is not functioning properly. So this thought came, I was wrong about my thinking on parasites. What else might I have been wrong about? And that changed my trajectory in looking at things. What else is there? What else is there that I was wrong about? And then I came to understand, I was wrong about medication, even though I've never taken medication regularly. I thought it was a good profession. Right now, I could not be a part of anything that I know is harming other people. So in this last era of my life, I've been looking for things that help people and don't harm them. Early detection and prevention is what I'm all about. And I'm looking for the best of the best of nutraceuticals and supplementation. I don't think we really have an option to supplement because our soils have been barren since 1936. That was a government document that was put out that our soil, so our food is not nutritious. And all these different supplements, minerals are key, trace minerals. Most diseases can go back to trace minerals also. There are just so many things. We are so complex with these 100 trillion cells. So getting our immune system to work properly. Well, back in February, Valentine's Day this year, which Liddy, thank you so much for giving me the call with Dr. Jerry. And I was struggling personally with a respiratory illness. It just irks my being for anything to get through my defenses because I take a lot of nutraceuticals. And Dr. Jerry told about in December, he had a virus. He knew everything he was throwing at that virus was not working, and he felt like his life might be in transition, like leaving the planet. And he heard this podcast, got the product, in 2 days, his respiratory was gone. I was in that similar situation. I was feeling desperate for something to change because when I breathed, I was rattling, when you take deep breaths and you hear this noise. I was coughing up things you don't even want to know. Phlegm and mucus that was not good. And so I was desperate. Now, after I finished that call, having this science background, I immediately looked at PubMed.gov, which is a scientific resource. It's over 38 million peer-reviewed articles. That means that other scientists have reviewed the article to verify it. And at that time, and I haven't looked since that night, I've looked a couple of times, but there were over 1,600 just on Corylus versicolor. It's not the same probably as the 400 that have been mentioned that started with Sloan Kettering. So, that's over 2,000 articles. It didn't take much. I didn't have to pray about it, think about it. Once I get enough information to satisfy this knowledge base that I've got growing, I'm ready to take action. And what the parasite issue, I think I mentioned what else that I've been wrong about. And I want to encourage us all to stay curious about what we do not know, because we may miss something extraordinary if we think we know it all. And the more I know, the more I know I don't know. So I went ahead and ordered that night. And when I got my product, I was still having the breathing, labored breathing, deep breathing. I was still coughing up green things that, are not nice. The morning of, I got my product at noon. And I felt like, just from what I know, most all of us are new to this mushroom and these mushrooms that the Pet Club offers. I took one of the Enforce that has the Coriolis versicolor, and then I took an Enforce Plus that has the added reishi. I took one each every 2 hours until I got 10 of those in my system. That day, from when I started taking those, I had no more labored breathing or green stuff that came out. Out of the hundreds of products that I've taken through the years, I've never had one that gave an immediate response. Now, I won't know till eternity what I've prevented with all the things that I've taken, but to have something that I got a response is I just can't even express what it's done. And this is what we're experiencing with other people. I have another friend. I was hoping Jeannie is able to get on the line, but she was another one that's been waiting for her product. She finally got it this Tuesday. And I asked her to send me the things that have happened. So many things happened. She was having a respiratory issue too that cleared up. She had a runny nose, that cleared up. She slept all during the night, the 2 nights that she's been on this. She never sleeps during all the way through the night. She usually wakes up about 3. Did not wake up. She always wakes up with back pain, has not awakened with back pain. This is just in the last 2 days. So God gets the glory for giving us and for us finding it. The Japanese doctors, he gave them the brain, the intellect to look at this, to get it back over to Simon's mom, to now to us. And we have the gift. We have such a gift of life and death, that we need to give to every person. Every person, every animal needs this every day. This is the motto of the company. But I can't get to people fast enough. And I pray that people will have ears to hear for themselves. A prophet is without honor in their own country. Some of y'all may have experienced this. The people closest to you, it's like the man whose daughter would not listen to him, which hurts us. So what do? We keep on giving pieces. And that's my giftings. I've got a new gifting. I'm going to be giving mush puppies and the different products to my family. I don't think I'm going to give them anything else, so that they really have an opportunity to try this. So one of the things I wanted to mention, I'm learning things. I'm sort of nerdy, like Kristen said she is. All of these mushrooms have beta glutens. I don't know if you've heard of those, but let me just tell you, and this is not company jargon. This is from other people studying it. Just the beta glutens that are included in the cell walls of all these mushrooms. Here are some of the things that help: improve blood sugar, improve cholesterol levels, reduce the risk of obesity, support the immune system, anti-cancer, treat skin conditions like dermatitis, eczema, decrease fatigue, modulate the immune system, anti-inflammatory, balance the microbiome. The microbiome is our intestinal bacteria. Up to 80% of our immune system is in our gut. And getting homeostasis in the good and bad bacteria is just critical. We're getting more and more. Enhances the ability of these fighters, the macrophages, and the natural killer cells. So those are just some tidbits, to add to your, for people that might want a little bit more. We've got the gift. Let's go give it to everyone, to every pet. Love on them. And I came across a study. I mentioned this, I think, last week, that our pets are so important to our well-being. I wouldn't have known this if I had not experienced a cockapoo named Roxy. And what hurts my heart is I believe she might be still with us had I known about these products. I missed it about 2 years. But in this study, it was a 69-year study with 4 million people that dog owners had reduced cholesterol, reduced sugar, and a 31% reduction in cardiovascular deaths. So anything we can do to keep our beloved pets around us, I think we would help our well-being. So Liddy, thank you.
Oh my gosh, Monique. You know what? When you begin to understand that it can take hours from taking a product from a deep state of challenge to a resolution. I know when you came onto the call, you said you're so full because you're hearing some of these stories. You're hearing about the life that's within us. We're tapping into the life and the capabilities and the wonders and the treasures that are hidden that we get to align with. And here, all of a sudden we have this, a new love for the blessings that are here for us. It's not like it's a formula. It's just one part of an extraction of a whole. So the first person I want to bring back on before we bring Bill, who is going to be sharing a testimonial, is I want to ask if Kurt could come back on for a minute. People are asking, what about athletes? And, people that are athletes, you can call us, all of us an athlete. We're going to have some spring cleaning. We're going to have some ways to be able to go, and we say there's Summer Olympics, there's different types of, activity. You can call yourself an athlete. And what are you going to do? How are you going to do the project and then restore and recover? So, Kurt, would you come back on and know that you're an athlete, that you've had some personal experience with that? So would you be so kind? Thank you, Kurt.
Hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Thank you so much.
So sorry about that. Hopefully you can all hear me okay, and I'll tell you,
Perfect.
Getting to listen to Monique and Dr. Jerry and all the wealth of information they're able to share is just it's just so amazing to hear all these things, and I'm just so fired up and excited. And the reason for that is it's not that I didn't already know these great things, but when you have people at the levels that they're at, and able to share some of the things they share, it just really is amazing. So thank you to you guys for sharing what you shared with the people here to get a better understanding of just how things work within our bodies and just what's going on. But yes, Liddy, we have seen just some of the most amazing things. And the story I didn't share, just with myself is, being in my 50s and I feel like I'm 15 years younger. There's not even a question. Kristen said 20. I'm doing things that I was doing, in my mid 30s, and Kristen loves this, but we'll play sports with, our nieces, our nephews that are mid 20s, and, our children, and I am an athlete, but, I still compete and pretty much destroy them at everything we play. And it's amazing. And I know, it comes down to, the energy that I have, the recovery that I get. It's just amazing when we go skiing and we do the things that we've done, our entire lives, and the soreness we would be dealing with. And I wake up with no soreness. We wake up, not feeling rough. It's incredible. People always say, well, is there any side effects to this? And I kid around with people and I say the only side effect there is that you feel so good, you start eating bad again, if that makes sense. Because, when you're younger, you eat so bad and you never feel the results of the way you ate. And as you get older, of course, you start seeing the results of the things you eat. And I found myself not feeling bad when I would eat certain bad things, and then I would eat more bad things. And so, I had to check myself and say, what are you doing? And, go back to just eating right, because I wasn't feeling the effects of it. It's just amazing the different things that you see with this that you just don't realize. We have had people that would get on this mushroom, that very healthy people, and be like, I'm really not, I haven't noticed anything. Now, this is very rare that this happens, because people generally, see something. They see energy. They see, they're sleeping better. They, eyesight. I mean, it's just amazing the things we see when someone's healthy. But sometimes we'll get that, and they'll be like, but then I stopped taking it. And then after, a few days, I really realized what this was doing for me. I had no idea. So I tell people all the time that it is incredible to really know what feeling good feels like, if that makes sense. I thought I felt good. I thought I had times that I just feel really good, but I had no idea what feeling good really felt like, if that makes sense, in terms of just having the clarity that I have today, the way I feel, the energy I have, not waking up sluggish in the morning, jumping right out of bed, ready to go, just those types of things. And it's really tremendous. But there are some exceptional stories that have happened when we start talking to, different athletes. I had mentioned earlier that, Chris had shared with the guys in the gym, and they are taking the mushroom, and they are seeing the recovery times. They're in their fitness levels, the way they're trimmed down, and their muscles are showing, and the things that they're experiencing from taking this mushroom is just incredible what's going on there. And they, of course, are pushing, us to bring, or the company to bring some things that are more, that would adhere to what they're doing into the company, which who knows what might happen because of the results that people are seeing from that athletic side. We have a really good friend of ours that we'll be seeing today, and his son, who wrestles, who was dealing with a concussion issue, a couple of other issues. We said, get him on this mushroom. Let's just see if it helps with any of the things that he's been dealing with. And it has turned this kid around. It's unbelievable what's happening. He's telling us that he's up at 4:30 in the morning, out of bed, waking his dad up to wrestle and prepare and do what they do. And it's night and day the difference that he's seeing. And Kristen's gonna. Oh yeah, Kristen just reminded me of a friend of ours, Brandon Potts, who started taking this, and he had been on it for about 7 months, and he runs a little bit. He'll run maybe 2 or 3 miles a week, but he was telling us how incredible he feels after taking this, and he could run a lot further and do those things. He's busy. He's got a major career and things that are going on. But he was telling us how he, at times he would feel sluggish as well. He would notice, some stiffness and things. Started taking and nothing. And his daughter and run with us and then walk and then run or whatever, but just do that. Brandon went and ran that whole marathon. The only time he stopped was when he would eat his banana and drink some liquids, and then he would start right back up. And he ran the whole thing without training more than what he was doing. It was a week before. And he said, I was amazed because I figured I would be so sore. And he said, I was sore the next day, but I figured this would be a 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 day soreness. And I could not believe how on that second day after this, I felt completely normal. And he goes, I just, he said, it has to be the mushroom. I don't know what else it could be. And again, it goes back to, healthy immune system, the recovery times that people are experiencing with this and what it's doing. Now, I want to have Kristen share some things that she has also been told, especially when it comes to horses. And it's really, really just another thing that really, shares with us, the power of what this is doing.
First Main Street says who for a year and a half was
Kristen, you're breaking up. We're not hearing you, sweetheart. We're not hearing her, Kurt. Nope. We're not hearing you.
Is this better?
There it is. Thank you.
I apologize. So there was a horse who, for a year and a half straight, ate the Coriolis versicolor mushroom every single day for a year and a half. And then when he was ready to compete after a year and a half, that year, he won 3 championships, including the Kentucky Derby. His own immune system gave him an incredible competitive advantage over every other horse. We have a lady whose horse retired from roping at 19 years old, started taking the mush ponies, and a couple months later, she was doing so well that she went back into roping and actually started placing, which was incredible in the senior division, of course. But she was much older than the other horses. And we have a mounted archer who could never place, and he and his horse started actually taking the Coriolis versicolor mushroom, and he started placing in his competitions. So these are just some of the things that we see. And I love what Dr. Jerry said, because this is so true. The force is already inside of you. The immune system is already built into your body. It's already inside of you. And when you feed the force inside, that's when the body returns to harmony. The body returns to balance, and you can function more optimally, and your pets can function more optimally. And that just resonated with me so strongly. So I'll turn it back over to Liddy. Thank you so much for letting us share.
Oh my gosh. So thank you so much. And I know that everybody that you're still on this call and inviting other people, what we're really talking about is like, what's your body telling you? What's your dashboard telling you? We're talking about the fact that you have a dashboard. It's how you feel. It's not like a car. And if we only did, we could say, well, then I would know what I need to do. Well, here's the one size fits all. Can I say it that way? One size fits all, knows what to do, when to do it, where to do it, how to do it 24/7. That's you. When you align your body with tapping into that power, then we know that everything that is called your detoxifying mechanisms already designed, that's called the liver, kidneys, and spleen, that your body knows how to keep the house clean. But if it cannot, it's overworked and underpaid. Dr. Jerry talked about that. Monique talked about that. Kristen and Kurt, that when Kristen said something about the fact that she had an autoimmune disease, it meant that the body was very confused internally. I had an autoimmune disease. And in Dr. Hulda Clark's book called Cure for All Diseases, she writes a section about the universal allergies. A lot of people say, I have allergies. You can just go have a conversation with people. Do you know anybody with allergies? I'm going to read this just for a second. This is quoted. If minor allergies are due to a disabled liver, comma, then extreme allergies must be due to an extremely disabled liver. This is the case for persons suffering from universal allergies, namely everything, like the lacquer on the floors, the plastic chairs, and the neighbor's flowers, and the grocery store itself. They have more than merely clogged bile ducts, that they have a sheep liver fluke living in the bile ducts. She goes on and she talks about how the body manages to kill them and tries to, take care of doing that. Then she goes on and she says that the infectious eggs are all over like little black threads in your bowel and urine elimination. I have people calling me that they have black threads in the toilet. That's right. That's what she talks about, is that is in your body. And you're trying to win the battles, and you're trying to look at that. So we're talking about, how do you starve the beast? You got to take away their food source. So if we have a fungi that goes in and cleans house, takes away the food source, I'm just going to say it, you win, period. You have more energy, you have more vitality, you have more elimination. Get ready. The environment is impacted by the environment, and the environment becomes vital, life-giving to you. And that's what we're talking about. So the question is, did you not notice anything? There's a lot of people that have done a lot of things. They say, you know what, I'm going to say this, I didn't feel anything. Well, do you really know what's going on? Do you really have digestive disorders still? Do you have some, allergies? We don't know. If you have some sensitivity to food, I used to have acid reflux. I can't eat certain foods. I don't digest that bread. I don't digest those carbs. But then, Kristen, I heard you one day say you had all of that. You couldn't have, tomato-based products. You couldn't have anything that was acidic, anything that was carbohydrate-related, and you're losing weight, and you cannot keep the weight on. Well, here's the thing. Your body can't digest it. It's resisting it. It's kicking back, as they say. So even to the point of, what age group. So we're going to hear right now from a gentleman, Bill Hester. And Bill, I have you on an open, but you'll have to open your side of the equation if you got yourself on mute. And Bill came to us because of an invitation that I made that went from an invitation that I made to an invitation to Bill. And Bill, please tell us your story, my dear.
Oh, yes, I will. Thank you, Liddy. Thank you very much. Thank you all for hearing my call. I was a retired mailman, and I'm 74 years old. A couple of years ago, I went to the Veterans Hospital because I had a liver and kidney transplant 17 years ago. And they told me that my liver and kidney was failing, and that they wanted to prep me so that I could get ready in case I needed an emergency surgery to get another kidney. And so I told them, okay. But last year, July, I caught COVID. And catching COVID, it affected my kidney, and it was pretty bad. It was shutting down. So I went in the hospital for a week with COVID, and during that time I was in there, my kidneys was pretty well failing. So they told me I would need another kidney transplant, and so I said, well, okay. They put me on dialysis. I went on dialysis last July, and I was, it was a new experience for me, and I didn't know what to do. A week ago, 3 weeks ago, my kidney got so bad that I couldn't dress myself. My wife was dressing me to take me to dialysis, And but when I get to dialysis, they would bring out a wheelchair and take me in to dialysis. And when I get inside, they would put me on my oxygen tank and hook me up to dialysis and give me my treatment. I would come home. My wife picked me up, and I come home. I was so weak that she would undress me again so I could sit in the bed. I couldn't lay in the bed because I couldn't breathe well when I lay, so I had to sit in the bed. And from the bed to the chair, I would alternate between the two of them, sitting through the night. And I did that up until I went Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to dialysis. And that by the time Friday came around, my wife didn't want me to go. I was so weak that I could sit up good. But I told her that if I didn't go that Friday, it would be 4 days before I would go back for treatment again. So I told her I was going to dialysis that Friday. I went to dialysis that Friday, and I had to talk to Reggie and Lidiys that Monday, and they was telling me about this product. Reggie had given me an herbal product before, and it helped me. And so when I talked with him, he told me about this product. He said, "I got something for you." And I was telling him that I was on dialysis now, so he told me about this product, and I said, I want it. I want to get it. I just knew that this is the second time he brought me a herbal product that had worked for me. So I ordered it, and I thought it would come by that Thursday or something, but it hadn't came yet. And so I was anxious for the product to come in because I knew it would work. I just knew it would because he's already given me something that worked real good. So that Friday when I came home, I saw the package sitting on the steps, and I picked it up and took it in the house, and I opened it up, and I just grabbed one of the bottles. I really didn't pay attention to which bottle I grabbed, but it was the Enforce bottle. I grabbed it, and I took 4 of the pills and took them down. I just swallowed them down, and I was going to go up to the bed like I normally do and sit in the bed, but I forgot to go and sit in the bed. I went outside and got in my utility closet and rearranged all the tools in my utility closet. When I finished rearranging the tools in the utility closet, I went and waxed my car. I came back home. I was going to wash and wax my wife's car, but she said she had to go somewhere. So I told her I'll do her car tomorrow. So I went outside and in the yard and was piddling around in the yard, doing stuff in the yard, and it got dark, and I came in the house. And when I got in the house, I started doing stuff in the house. And it was about 11 o'clock when I realized, oh, it's 11 o'clock. I better lay down. So I had forgot about to go in the house and sit in the bed. I did felt great. I felt fantastic, and I just felt good. I felt healthy all over again. And so I laid down, and the only time that I could sleep more than 4 hours is when I was on anesthesia in the hospital. But I slept for 7 consecutive hours that night. And the next day, I just felt great. I felt fresh and young all over again. And I hadn't felt like that. I mean, it was just wonderful the way I felt. And now it's been 4 weeks that I've been on it. And in the past 4 weeks, I just feel wonderful. I feel energetic. I got plenty of energy. I'm supposed to go to Tampa General April the 2nd to see what I qualify for another kidney. And it's the first time in my life I know I won't qualify because I feel wonderful, and I'm looking forward to going down there April the 2nd, and for them to see whether or not I qualify to be on the transplant list. I just thank y'all for listening to my story. It's like a miracle. But I thank you for listening to me.
You know what? The beautiful part of this whole story, Bill, is that it's your story, and that you embraced the challenge. And when we embrace challenge, we erase challenge. And what we resist will persist. And when we begin to understand that there isn't anything to run from, but it's to look in the mirror and say, what if? What if it's possible? What if we really don't understand how the body ultimately functions? What if this is a partner? What if? And I'm going to say, over the last 23 years and 8 years of this company being in business and all this research and 400 different, let's call it studies to verify, quantify, and then, create that so-called confirmation, we're talking about MD Anderson Cancer Center, Sloan Kettering, Loma Linda, Harvard University, American Cancer Society. We're talking about institutes that are top institutes that are talking about immune properties, looking at it from the under the microscope conversation. And so you heard that, you made a decision, and you swallowed. You ordered that, you swallowed that. This is not about a sales pitch. I hope there's not one person on this call today feels like this is that, because it's about education. It's about gifting you the empowerment so you can understand like how to thrive versus just survive. So today's the first day of the rest of our life. Today is the day that we have that possibility on the table. And so with that, Tonzel, I have the great privilege to bring you to the table. I know you've been helping a lot of people. You heard something that will help embrace this challenge as well. So your heart is love on steroids. So with that being said, Tonzel, would you open your line and share some stories and things that had you like take a look at, like, why now, why this? Tonzel?
Absolutely. Can you hear me, Lily?
We can hear you. Thank you.
I think I'll
Yes, sir.
There we go. Thank you so much, Liddy. I greatly appreciate it. You giving me this opportunity to share. To say that I am excited would be a very serious understatement. I have been on these products myself personally for 3 weeks now. I had the privilege to meet our brother Reggie Powell through my business partner, Idris Sadiq, who lives in Houston. And it was unintentional that I had any idea of inquiring about this company and this product, but Reggie Powell, being so kind, shared this wonderful information with me and brother Idris Sadiq, and the rest is history. And I want to thank you, Liddy, for taking time out upon the day that I had a chance to find out and get educated about this wonderful company. And you took the time out. And I think we kept you on the phone past 2 a.m. I said, oh, gosh, we kept Liddy on the phone that late. So your heart, your open heart, Liddy, is so greatly appreciated for the labor that you're giving to getting us educated about what we have in our hands. This is mushroom gold, I call it, because of the way that this company, this amazing company, takes care of the way that they harvest the proprietary strain. I was looking for something for over a year, something unique. And Liddy, you took time out to explain to me the importance of understanding the efficacy that is in the Coriol versicolor with the way they have the proprietary strain. Because we know all harvesting and gathering of product production is not created equal. And that was my greatest concern. And you took time with us to answer that most important question. And we were very concerned about the efficacy for how they protect the way that they harvest and gather the product so we can have the power to cause that effect that we were looking for in our business group. And now that I've had a chance to experience the product for myself for the past 3 weeks, I ordered it on March the 5th. I got it delivered quickly with the 2-day delivery. Started taking them right away. Within 2 days, within a day and a half, just 2 results. I have several, but just 2 results myself. Me being 53 years of age, I had blood circulation problems, and I tried different products that helped a little bit. But when I started taking this amazing product with this herb in here that you guys protect for the way that you harvest it, right away, I had vision problems. The mucus was coming heavily out of my left eye in particular. Phenomenal results. My vision is phenomenal and getting stronger and better every single day. I can't wait to see my 30, 45, and 60-day results for my vision. And also on my left foot, my big toe, the circulation was so bad that my toenail on my left foot of my big toe was black, and it should have been clear. And it's 60% more clear now, getting better and stronger every day. The circulation in my feet, phenomenal, in my legs, phenomenal. And I got to tell the world, everyone who I know, love, and care about has got to know about this amazing company and this product that's helping their animals. I have a sister, my sister and her husband, they're dog breeders. She's a very skeptical person, but she's now trying the product. I said, you gotta get your dogs on this product. But just the gratefulness that I have, the gratitude that I have for Liddy, yourself, and Reggie educating my circle of influence about what we have with this amazing company. Nothing short of extraordinary. I had a chance to talk to Kurt. I had a chance to attend my first full Wednesday and Saturday webinar presentation and training on Saturday. Class A, folks, if you haven't gotten on the Wednesday and the Saturday, along with Dr. Jerry's calls on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, everything is here. And I'm so grateful, so honored, so appreciative, Liddy, for you and Reggie sharing this with us, and everything that Kurt and Kristen does. So grateful. Thank you so much for letting me share.
Wow, Fonzel, did you just hear that heart? That was so incredible. For those of you that are taking notes, mushroomstudies.co. Mushroomstudies.co. Part of what most people like to know, we're the affirmation confirmation, and it's the PubMed, WebMD, everything that you're looking for. And the next person I have the privilege to introduce is a wonderful lady that lives on a mountainside and in Idaho, Miss Linda. And she just has such a beautiful heart, but she's willing to work on the mountainside. And but you know what? Age sometimes, has us sit back and just let somebody else do it because we have to watch from a distance. Anyway, Linda shared a story this morning. She said, Liddy, I'm willing to share. So, Linda, your line is open, my dear.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, 74 years old. I'm not liking it, folks. I'm not really liking it. And so you're used to being active, and then instead you'd rather sit on the couch and stare at the wall. That's not liking that. And then I read that Moses was 80, 120. His eye was not dim or his strength abated. And then I read that you have not because you ask not. And I go, okay, Father, can I ask that when you're ready for me, I'm ready. But can I have good eyesight and my strength not abated until you're ready for me? I'm asking. And so this wonderful product, I've had it a week, about 9 days. And we got a contract for fire remediation, thinning the undergrowth between your trees for fire prevention. And my son and grandson are up this week doing that. You can hire it done or you can do it yourself. And so they're here, and I want to be where they're at. They're just up visiting, and so I'm up there, and I go, well, you guys can run the chainsaw. Let me throw the limbs into the chipper. And what a great thing to have chip piles instead of having to have flash piles to burn. So we're up there all day for the last couple days, and they're chainsawing, and I'm taking the limbs and dragging them across uneven ground where there's lots of stuff you could stumble on, and lifting up the branches and feeding them into the chipper and doing that all day long. And all I can say is, I did it. And someone said, well, are you sore and tired today? I go, well, yeah, but so are they. So it's like you get to have a life again. And I'm really grateful that my Heavenly Father brought this across my path. So I don't have to sit on the couch and stare at the wall.
Wow, Linda, so incredible. Like some people say, well, I didn't notice anything. Like maybe my bowel movements are not any different or something. And you just talked about something that you got to do without being able to bend over. And so it might be a joint that's working. It might be that you had a little bit more energy. You had a little bit more alertness. A chipper can take a little bit of alertness. There's a tension that needs to be in that type of work environment. So we don't really know what's really working. I'm just going to say this. We all have, if we can say, some challenges on a daily basis, because the water we drink, the food we eat, the air we breathe. And somebody told me last night at the end of my day yesterday about all of these microbots and things that are being chemtrailed on us, whether you believe it or not. The question is, are you barefoot trying to do rounding? Well, you know what? There might be some things that are coming through the system that we don't even know. I mean, is it landing on us? I don't know. All I'm going to say is I'm going to do my part, and I'm going to partner with my body so that I do not have to put a Band-Aid over the problem. And we know that you can make two columns. You can have an asset column and a liability column. If you have so-called liabilities, the question is, how do you move that liability, that challenge, that frustration, that indigestion, that acid reflux, that allergy, that whatever pain ails you, that joint problem, that insomnia, that whatever that is, that thyroid, that this, that nail fungus, that whatever that is. Okay, that's called a liability. Whatever that is, how can you move that? And everything, if you drew the bottom line and said, okay, what's the underlying cause of all dis-ease in that liability column? That is a roadblock. Somehow the body's not firing, communicating. If you have a speech impediment, you have a challenge that's called neurological. It doesn't matter. It's a roadblock. It's not firing, not communicating. The question is, how do you get the roadblock out of the way? And so when I try to simplify sometimes complicated conversations, I'm trying to give you some words about like, how can you get on board with you? How can you get on board with all the genius within you? One of our grandchildren said, Nana, I was born genius. I said, you are right. You are born genius. That is what lies within us. But somehow there's something that happens. It doesn't matter where the pain is. It doesn't matter where the suffering is. That is inflammation. Pain equals inflammation. Inflammation equals pain. Aging equals stress. Anti-aging equals anti-stress. Are you hearing that we're talking about probably all this in this conversation? Are you beginning to understand that if it's to be, it's called it's up to me? And at the end of the day, that's called victory. And when we're looking at victory, the question is it an ulcerative situation? Is there something flaring? Well, I had a dear friend that called me and said, I've got a challenge. And I said, well, where is the challenge? He says, well, I'm vegan. And he was going to be on the call, but he had to do something else that just came up as an emergency. So I'm going to share his story. So I said, please take pictures. if there's a skin tag, if there's a wart, if there's something, please take pictures. I even to the point I've had taken when I got my chickens, I put my chicken egg yolks as I crack that egg up against store-bought chicken egg or eggs rather. So I saw that those were pale yellow, and my organic chickens that get everything organic was kind of like a deep, like yellow. And I thought, you know what? That's the difference. Look at that already. And so I then gave my chickens, 7 chickens, a mush pony biscuit, crushed it on the patio, and they licked it up. They ran after it. Never left it until it was all gone. And so a few days later, my husband brought the eggs in, and I happen to have an antique egg scale. So I started weighing my eggs before this. They all came in at 23 grams. Then my husband brought one in, and he said, I think this egg looks different. And I said, well, it certainly is a little bit bigger. And I weighed it, and it went to 26 grams. 26 grams, and something's changing, right? So then I keep giving them these mush pony biscuits one a day. And the one that came in the other day weighs, it tipped the scale to the top, so it's probably like 30, oh, it's over 30, but it went all the way down to the bottom. So let's say it's 32 grams or something like that. So, but the egg yolk is orange. It's orange. And so, and the eggs taste different. All I'm going to tell you is my eggs don't lie. And then back to this gentleman that says, I have this ulcerative situation. So I said, take pictures. So he sent me pictures of how bad it was. It's like it looks like an acid eating something his leg. And he has to wrap saran wrap around it when he takes a shower because it's so painful. And any sweat that gets on it, it's just like killing him. He's had it for a very long time. He's got a very clean diet, and he says nothing will help it. He went to the doctor, got a stab, and it only created a problem that was worse. So he's now got the product Enforce internally, taking the Enforce Coriolis Versicolor, and he bought the body balm. Put the body balm around it on the outside and some of the tissue on the inside. And he just sent me the picture of what 3 days look like and what 5 days look like. And yesterday was 4 weeks into it. You would be shocked. It's like, it's a little light colored, but it's completely enclosed, and it's like a new leg. He said, and by the 3rd day, the pain already went away, so he didn't even have to, cover it in the shower. So these are the things we're talking about. The innate nature, the internal intelligence, course correcting, and it's an extremity. It's an extremity. I have talked to people that have lost their hands, their feet, because of diabetes, because circulation issues. Well, what if the blockage could be removed? I'm doing a what if right now. I'm not making a claim. I'm trying to help you understand. What if these conversations, when you hear somebody that has, stage 4 or something, what do you typically do? I'll pray for you, right? I'll pray for you. I don't know what to do other than, oh my gosh, tell the next person to pray for them. I got it. This is prayers answered. I'm believing that we got sent the boat, the helicopter, and the parachute. And so open minds work much better than a closed mind because it's like an open parachute. The landing is easier rather than, and we know oftentimes it goes like this. The man convinced against his own will is of the same opinion still. What's in the way of being able to hear the possibility of something? I have to get out of the way. If Dr. Jerry and some of the people that say, I've heard it all, I've seen it all, there is nothing, I've been to India, I've studied, I've been here, I've been there, I've done it all, there's nothing more. Dr. Jerry was so sick, he threw everything in. Monique, that's been in the medical arena, and you understand that there's alternative ways. So she has alternatives, but there wasn't a way out. How do you get this done? I believe we get served up, and I think Duancel said it, the golden platter of a solution. Once you get that, and that's in your heart, and you become unstoppable, we're here. This is a movement meant to help the move of the innate nature of our internal intelligence, the divine wisdom from within. And I believe hidden under what is called, where debris is being defecated, but the micro fungi and the micro communication, the mycelium stage of this fungi eating a lot. And when that goes into my body and it eats a lot, is the day I win. I had a sword pain go through my left foot from an injury, exactly where the injury was. By the 5th day of being on this product, it was so severe in terms of that pain that it was like back to when I had the farm accident in 1974. And it lasted for 30 minutes. And after that, I was rolling my foot again. My arch had no pain. I would wake up at night because the pain was so severe, I could not sleep. I have not had that. Now that happened on the 5th day. So if you don't have a testimonial, you don't have a story to tell yet, tell these stories. Give people hope and help them understand that if it's not your story, there's other stories. But if you don't have cancer and you don't have results because you didn't have cancer, that's not the time to say, well, I don't have cancer and I don't need this. I don't know what your story is, but we all are living in such time where we're all victim of some kind of circumstance. It's genetic weaknesses. Dr. Hulda Clark says that babies are born today with liver flukes, or in utero, that the pinworms and hookworms pass through that ovum and get into that fetus to the point of where they're born with this challenge. Born with the challenge. Why, did our ancestors have issues at the age of 70 and 80 and 90 versus today 60, 50, and 40, and so on, and then in childhood? Because it's a generational breakdown. The power lies within us. So, I am doing, Monique, go ahead.
I have found the cure for whatever. The cure is our immune system. And Bill is a prime example of the triage. We've heard of triage when you go to the ER, they do a triage, the highest priority. Our immune system works in a triage manner, going to the places out of our 100 trillion cells. This is a miracle. God gets the glory on how he made us, going where it's needed. We have the cure. It's us. We're the cure. Feed us. Feed our cells. And this extraction, this variety of Coriolis versicolor is doing that. So we have got a responsibility. I have a responsibility to go tell the good news to everyone. And I'm just praying for ears to hear for what it will mean for them. God has dropped it into my heart to live like Moses, it says in Genesis 6, that he lived to 120. His life had not dimmed, his strength had not left him, like Linda mentioned. And I want to live as long as he wants me to. That's the goal. And I keep learning, and this gift that he gave us that has been with us But he gave the Japanese science the brain, the doctors, to really discover this, that now we have in our hands. We have the gift to give to people, to everyone. And if, like you said, if we don't have our personal stories, use somebody else's. Don't wait. I've got some people say, well, I want to wait till I have a personal result. Well, I've had decades of no personal results that I know of. I don't know what I've presented. This is the first time I have had a personal result, and I'm so thankful for it. But I didn't not take other things. I had the evidence, the science behind it. I didn't know how my body was utilizing it. But let's just go tell, please. Everyone, the world needs what we have.
Oh my gosh, Monique, I got another gentleman that would like to share a testimonial, and this is a gentleman that actually lives in a gated community, and he's going to share like his little story about like his given title in that community, because he has passion to share with people how to thrive versus just survive. Dick Matrician, your line is open. Thank you, Dick.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Liddy. What a morning. You know, this is going to be 3 hours, and it seems like 30 minutes. At any rate, there are no accidents. I had called Liddy, and she shared Pet Club with us. She three-wayed us into Dr. Jerry, and we heard his story, and his story and Liddy's and the other things that had come up just blended with my wife Joy and our purpose of serving people in the area, in the community, in the area of health, and this just combines it all with our love of pets. It's just an amazing balance with it. So I did hit with a lot of requests to look at this, look at that over the years, and about every 5 years, I really find something that's meaningful. So this was not an accident. This was, I don't know, blessed, okay, at this point for us. So we quickly, I signed up with the $9.99 pack because I wanted stuff to be able to share and stuff for my wife and I to be able to use. And then I wanted to hear more stories, which is what I get from listening into these calls and trying to write as quickly as I can. The first thing that I noticed was that my sinuses were draining right away. I mean, after taking the Enforce right away. And I'm going to tell you why this was important to me. Back in 2020, I had a surgery done. Well, first of all, I had a surgery on my leg, okay? And because I wanted to have that, basically, in the doctor's words, heal naturally, as opposed to via medications and everything else, I had to lie with my ankle above my heart for 4 months, okay? As opposed to exercising on a daily basis, walking and everything else. So that was number one. That was in May. In June, I had another surgery on my sinuses, okay? And they had become, let's just say, inflamed and had mass in them, as I had said. Now, I had a DO, a doctor of osteopathy, who I'd gone to look at that as opposed to a traditional ENT person. And when he looked at the results of the scans I had, he said, this is the worst he had ever seen in his life, and he wouldn't touch it, and he sent me to Shands, okay? So I managed with a few things to actually turn that all into mucus and pus, and I want to keep that from happening again. And I noticed day one, in basically in minutes, that my sinuses were draining instead of accumulating with that. We added, so that's critical to me for something with that. We then added the Enforce Shield.
and we both felt a difference. It was like my volume of nasal flow of air increased by 50%. And my wife Joy felt the same thing. It'd be like going from a stuffy room out into a cool, fresh day outside, okay? And we continually notice that when we use it. And so that's bringing more oxygen to every cell, tissue, organ, and system in the body. I know that, and I know how important that is. And so that's one of the other ones we've seen with us. We notice we're more mentally alert, okay? And so we were using the clarity. Now understand, I run 8 different discussion groups each month in our community, the Villages, Florida, okay? Each one is covering different topics, which includes, so for that it means I find new materials to show them for each meeting, and I prepare notes, and I lead the discussion. And these are usually with groups of about 20 or 25 people. And so I am the core of getting and keeping the discussion going, but also answering questions. And this is in the areas of health and all divergent topics, basically. So most people run one club and have one meeting a month, and I have 8 different areas of focus. So my mental clarity is critical for me to do what I bring to the community here with that. So we've had this. This is just amazing for us. We're looking forward to sharing more stories as we go along. So we've been on the product like 10 days basically at this point in time. So we're having a lot of fun and sharing this with people. And our joy here, my name is Joy. So it's our joy basically is being able to share a product like this to the community, because from our perspective, the impact of the product on other people is what is most important to us, and we know everything else will come from that. So back to you, Liddy.
Wow. All right. Well, the next person that we're going to have to speak, and that's Reggie Powell. And Reggie Powell is somebody that just has love for people. And Reggie called because he wanted to actually share something with me. And I said, Reggie, there's something bigger I think that we need to be talking about. There's a lot of weight products out here. There's a lot of things that we can do. But the weight issue is because we're feeding a beast. And so how we clean the body is we got to get to the core of things. And he listened, he says, interesting. I'm going to hear Reggie's voice, and many of you might already know Reggie, but he goes, interesting. With that, kind of like deep voice. Anyway, Reggie, come on the call and just share what you heard and why you kind of like did a pivot that day. Reggie, over to you.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you, Reggie.
Phenomenal. Hallelujah. Well, first and foremost, I want to thank you, Liddy, for being a great listener, because, and for everyone on the line, the reason why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth is because we're supposed to listen. And we can listen, we can hear not only ourselves when we're speaking to ourselves positively, because there's some folks on the line. I'm excited for each and every one of us here in 2025 with the Pet Club. I want to give honor and homage to Kurt and Kristen Ludlow. Not only them, but I want to go to the top. Gino, who had the pleasure of speaking with one of the founders. I want to thank him, Steve, and Simon for coming together to put this, having a vision and writing it down and following through to now touch the world. And internationally, this is going to be not only monumental in all of our lives on the line, because since about 5 years ago when COVID hit, and a lot of people, no matter who you are, where you are, you remember where you were when the world was shut down with COVID. Churches, and there's a lot of people that have lost family members due to that that challenge that hit the world, and now we have a solution to many problems. And yes, Liddy was right. I reached out to Liddy with a product. I just wanted to get her opinion on something regarding weight loss. But life is bigger than just weight loss. There's some folks on this line, they need weight gain right now. And so for everyone that, no matter what your challenge, being connected with a product that can now be an immune modulator to help your body get back into balance, that's a whole new conversation. And it shouldn't be a new conversation. It should be something that we had learned. Many have learned, many have forgotten, but due to the vision of the owners, the Pet Club has brought it back in a big way. And I'm so excited. I'm grateful for the company. I'm grateful for the people that I've reached out to. I want to thank for everyone that's on the line that received the conversation. Thank you. Thank you for chiming in. I want to thank the haters. I want to thank the people that said no. Thank you for saying no, because it inspired me to get to someone that would say yes. So for everyone on the line, there's too many people to tell, but I want to thank Bill first and foremost. When I found out about this product, I reached out to. I hadn't spoken to Bill in about 6 months, and I really hadn't spoken to him because I was searching for something that I needed to connect, and there's someone in your life that you need to reach out to, and don't be ashamed. And I'm grateful for Bill for being transparent, telling his story, sharing with others, because someone needs to hear that you're on dialysis, you have hope. That's right. Whatever your challenge is, you have cancer, you have hope. I don't even like to mention the big C, but whatever you have, there's a solution to your problem. We have the answer, and it's documented. I'm grateful for everyone that's told their testimony. I want to thank Monique, her background, Dr. Jerry. Thank each and every one that's bringing knowledge and understanding, because some people need to hear, not from studies, we're so busy at this day and time. A lot of times we're not open to receive, but many times people will receive a testimony because they've gone through tests, and in order to get a testimony, you have had to have a test. And so, thanks each and every one that's told their story. Keep telling the story. Keep forwarding the mission, because in 2025 we're supposed to thrive, not just survive. We should thrive, and I'm grateful for Liddy for being a person with an open heart to hear. It's been very rare that I've called Liddy from and she's not been open to hear, and I want to thank not only her, I want to thank her husband for allowing her to be the bird and allow her to soar to help others all over this planet, because we got a lot of work to do. We're just getting started. I'm grateful to be a part of the mission. I'm grateful for each and every one of you. I want to thank Bill. I want to thank Twanzel for being open. I called him this morning. He said, sure, I would love to. That's what it's all about, being responsive, being proactive, not reactive. There's a lot of folks, they're going to wait until they get the bad diagnosis before they'll hear. There's some people that have heard. I want to thank a good friend of mine I grew up with, Ricky. He may be on this line. Clarence Wiseman, thank you for accepting the call that I gave him, because he gets a call from his goddaughter who was diagnosed with the big C. And now we can reach out and help her. So there's so much that we have to do to give back. I have a teenager who was diagnosed with strep throat today. I reached out to Liddy. Liddy said, do not take any antibiotics. Grateful for that direction. And we're going to make sure that he gets some of this Coriolis versicolor, which we started giving him, and we're going to take it to another level. So we have so many people to touch. We don't have time. And for those that are not ready to receive the information, don't take it personal. Move on, because you'll come back around and you'll grab them at a later date. So you just have to be a servant, be willing to serve in this arena, be willing to reach out and help. Don't think about yourself. Think about who you can help, who you can. This is a movement and a ministry for those that receive it. So I'm grateful to be in the trenches with each and every one of you, and I want you to not take it lightly. This conversation that you've heard today, in this 3 hour of power, this is a powerful call. Thank you, Lee, for putting this together. Thank you for those that are contributing, helping to spread the message, spread and tell the world. With that being said, have a great Friday, good day, and God bless us all. Back to you.
Wow, Reggie, and I know that we're going to have a couple last words from Kurt, and I just want to say, did you hear that Kingdom Steward giving Kingdom Ambassadorship message? I mean, honestly, I am so fired up, and just to be able to say, you have to partner with people that are like, passionate with purpose. So, Kurt, I'm going to send it back to you. Give us your final words on this call for this amazing month of March. Kurt, thank you.
Absolutely. Can you hear me okay, Liddy?
Yes, we can.
Very good, Reggie. You got me fired up listening to Swanzell and all the great testimonials and Monique. Thank you so much for all your sharing, Dr. Jerry, Liddy, all the other testimonials that have shared today. What a great call. I think we can all agree with that. And I have to tell you, just exactly what Monique had mentioned earlier, and is the way that we feel, what's happened here, ladies and gentlemen. You can't make it up. It's a divine appointment. I'll tell you right now, the things that we have witnessed, that we have watched throughout the 8 years of being a part of this company, it comes from one person. And there's no way, if I were to share the things that have happened here, you would know 100% why this company is operating and running the way that it is, and the things that people are experiencing and the things that are happening. And, I knew, as I started getting this information out, and again, like Monique said, we had a responsibility here. There are so many people that are just hoping, wishing, praying for something that could be led into their path. They've exhausted every option, whether it's with their pets or with themselves. And, again, we're not saying that this is something that we can come in and cure, mitigate, or prevent. What we're saying is this could be the very thing that gets that immune system responding and helping that situation, whatever it is that they could be dealing with, by getting that immune system running optimally. And because of that, ladies and gentlemen, I sometimes, like many people, sometimes I treat people like annoyances and a problem, eating my time, instead of, that divine appointment that, that I have the ability to just get this information out. It became an open your eyes moment for me when I really started understanding just how crazy this was and what it was doing. And I watched that through, my wife by taking a look at this and hearing the testimonials that were pouring in, the way she was feeling. And in previous seasons of immaturity, I would reject that feeling. And I would run from that feeling of just wanting to get this information out to every single person that I could. And there's no question, like Lady had mentioned, there's a movement in here that moves me out there like I have never had. I've never seen people be so receptive to something that just wanted the information, were just craving the information for them or their pets. And I've never seen something so amazing in terms of the types of testimonials that we're receiving back. And I think that after listening today, and the stories and testimonials that you're able to hear, that you can see why there are so many people so excited around what we're doing here. Ladies and gentlemen, when you have a company that has brought something to the table that isn't just a recent thing, this thing has been around for over 28 years here in the United States. Yeah, are you hearing a lot about mushrooms? You bet you are. But these guys have been leading the forefront with, a few handfuls of other companies and bringing the word of mushrooms out and what they're capable of accomplishing. We just are so blessed and fortunate that God put it in the hands of us to have the most potent strain with a proprietary way that it is extracted that nobody's been able to duplicate. It can't be synthesized. It's amazing that we have the ability and are given the right to get this out, to do as much as we have the ability to do in helping people. And you hear the hearts of the people on this call. People aren't on here because they care about the financial gain they're getting from that they could potentially get from this. They're on here because they truly want to help. They want to give back. That's what drives us. That's what drives, my wife, our children involved with what we're doing here. The people you're hearing on the call. It's just the great byproduct of it is that, it can bring relief to people for just helping get the word out. And it's super exciting to know that we're running with a company that is doing things the right way. They lead from the front with the Lord. They lead from the front by being a part of what this industry is about and understanding, where people like you and I that are just getting the information out about something and the time and effort that it takes to do that and rewarding in a way with a company that is a debt-free company, ladies and gentlemen, that really have people that care. And that's the type of thing that I like to be associated with. We have just been here a little longer than some of the others to get to really know deep down inside who these people are, what they're about, the direction they're going. This is their legacy company, that they truly care. They're financially well off. This is not a situation where they've come in and they wanted to create something that they could turn around and flip or get out of. They're not venture capitalists. They're in this for the right reasons. They just became the stewards of something special that was put in their hands and giving the rest of us that great ability to have it as well. And I'll tell you, ladies and gentlemen, it's been such a great decision from our part. And we hope that today, whether you're looking at this or you're on this call because, you're looking for some relief somewhere, no matter what that might be, that you found that home, that product, that situation that can help you attain exactly what you're looking for. And if you are looking at this from a standpoint of trying this out, maybe to see if it's that energy you're looking for that you're lacking, the feeling years and years younger, the different things that you've heard today that this has done for many others. And you don't see that in 30 days. This company's confident. Send it back. Get your money back. That's not what they're about. They just want to help people feel better, have a better situation. And if it's a side of coming on board with us to help us be that messenger, be that voice for animals that don't have them, for people that are looking, again, this is a great way to help get the information out. But, put some additional revenue in your pocket by doing so. And all the people that are here today on this, we care. We're just here to help. We're here to support. We've got a system in place to help you have and do the things that we've shared with you here. Just reach out to them. They can connect you. They can set you up. They can put you at whatever direction it is that you're looking to go today off the information that you've learned. And I'm so thankful to be a part of this. Just blessed, ladies and gentlemen. And we appreciate all of you for taking the time out with us today. With that, we hope you have a wonderful, blessed, safe weekend. And we appreciate you taking time with us. And Liddy, if you want to say any other words, I'll turn it to you. If not, we'll close this call out.
I do. Amen. And that means I believe. Those are my final words. I'm going to open up the call so everybody can share your gratitude. Okay, so unmute, open, unmuted. All right, everyone. Shalom. Be back towards your left. Absolutely the stupidest thing I've ever done. Thank you.
is that God put it on my spirit not to be in the area of the outskirts of the city. Power R. I'm trying to do, my bills haven't been paid. I have to work on my bills. I just don't want to listen to this thing. It's driving me nuts. Vice President J.D. Pence and the Second Lady left for Greenland Friday.